Welcome, YouTube. Welcome back to the 9th edition of the Home Theater Hub. Got my co-host Ike over here. What's
up,
going on,
people?
Ike?
Not much. Busy day, but we're here. How you doing, bro?
Hey, did you hear the news?
No, I don't listen to
I
the
got my
news.
stunners on today, man, because we're going Hollywood today. We got a celebrity on the show. Did you happen to? Yeah, you got to put your stunners on too.
Today, man, because we're going Hollywood.
So,
Let me
those of you that
on.
don't know, we got a very good person that I consider to be a very good friend. Met this person through the Daily Hi-Fi show. Actually took a 3.5 hour trek up to his house. Sat down on his couch for about 7 hours. We got Mr. Youthman in the house. Mr. Youthman, Michael Stevens, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh man, it's a pleasure. I'm so glad to have you on the show. You know, your support through so many people's channel just rings through Facebook and YouTube, and you know your outgoing personality and friendliness to everyone is just a delight to have on the show. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it, man. See some familiar faces. What's going on, fellas?
Yes. Mr. Paul, how are you doing? Welcome back to the show, sir.
I'm doing great. It's good to have Michael, the Trinov of YouTubers. He's all 32 channels, right?
That's funny.
Hey man, you're selling them short. That can go up to 48.
Oh well, you know he's got some growing still.
Yeah,
you know?
I got some growing
always
for
room to
sure.
grow.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah, they asked if I was going to be on. I was like, miss an opportunity to give Michael a hard time. He knows.
I love it, man. I welcome it and I love it.
Mr. John Anthony, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on again. I appreciate it, Don. How you doing, Michael?
No problem.
I'm good.
You know, this is something that I usually just like to willy-nilly don't prepare for any of these shows because I think it's more organic, you know, but I got to be honest, with Michael on the show, I was feeling a little nervous, you know, so had to get some of those butterflies out, right? So
this normal dude, man.
He's like that. It won't
no,
go away.
Michael.
Is that what you're saying?
Michael, as I mentioned in the intro, Michael's just a great person. I actually met Michael through the after show on the Daily Hi-Fi. We were doing a tribute to the Daily Hi-Fi show. If you haven't subscribed to their channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to Joe and Chana's channel over there, Daily Hi-Fi. And I actually met Michael, as I was saying.
Don't forget Aaron, man. Don't do that.
And Aaron, yes, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Text me if you forget.
Yes, I'm gonna get hit with a speaker when I do see him. But no. So I met Michael. We were doing, I think it was a segment of the after show called "Show Us Your Junk," right, or something like that. And we've been talking through Facebook Messenger for 4 years or so now. And Michael actually posted on his Patreon that he was selling some Martin Logan speakers. Well, it just so happened that I had 2 Martin Logan speakers, the 60 XTIs, and I was looking for a third one for my center channel. And we'll get to the jokes and everything else that it's been 3 years, and I still haven't set that center channel speaker up later. But
I will tell you, the marker has started. My buddy Miguel has actually got the permit to actually start building his house from the ground up. If he finishes his theater before yours, you will never live this down. I'm saying, like, literally ground zero. They just
I'd be time to go back to home theater in a box for Don.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
That's right. He's the
Be a lot
perfect
quicker,
candidate.
buddy.
I'll just turn my
Kaleidoscape
garage back
and
into a
home theater
garage
in a
and
box right next to each other because they're super
Yeah.
easy to set up.
We'll have the NC12 by the time he's
That's
done.
right.
Yeah.
yeah.
The
So
12K will be out before he gets his done.
that is absolutely true. No, that is absolutely not true. I was planning on going to Orlando this weekend for the 3-day weekend to go to Disney with the family, but looks like there's going to be some poor weather there, a little cold. So I told the wife I'm going to go ahead and take this time to actually start putting some screws in the walls and start hanging some drywall. So
There you go.
there's only one issue: taking down Christmas decorations.
Mm.
I decided to try to move a pile of extra tile that I have for my house. It was about 4 boxes of tile, and I tried to move it to give some space. And when I did, I like hyper extended my elbow, and I heard pop pop. So it's a little tender right now, but I think it'll be fine. I can lift my son and everything, but when I turn it a certain way, it does I do feel a little bit of pain in the top of my elbow. So thinking about hiring my friend. I've been trying to bribe him with pizza and beer, but he consistently wants money to help me. So,
So
which
basically,
I don't blame
you
him.
just added 6 more months to the home theater build, right?
No. We're
It's
gonna get
okay.
this
We
thing done.
understand.
Like I said, we're gonna get this thing done. At least get the drywall up, get it functioning as quick as possible. So, but as I was mentioning, I made that trek to Michael's house, and when I got there, Michael was just so inviting. I was supposed to just go there to buy some speakers. 7 hours later, I was leaving Michael's house. So I loaded up my truck with those speakers, with everything. It just barely fit in the back of the truck. But Michael has been a big inspiration to a lot of people. On the YouTube channels. I know that. Ike, he's helped Ike out a lot. As I mentioned, at his house, I sat down there and he explained YouTube Studio to me. Just took the time out of his day. Stuff like that's instrumental to me. It's definitely a breath of fresh air to have someone like this in the home theater space. So if you could put up the sharing screen there, Mr. Ike, I'd appreciate it.
Oh man,
Okay.
got some show and tell.
Got some show and tell.
Ah,
So, Michael, 922 videos, man. I mean, it's just incredible. Give us a little backstory of what it takes to do something like this, and what got you motivated for 922 videos?
Sure. So my channel started technically, I guess it'd been about 9 years ago. And my original channel, if you look back at my earliest videos, it was, "What's up, guys? GoPro Youthman here." And so I had bought a GoPro. And so that was my camera. That's all I had. I didn't have a nice camera. And I would do a video on home theater. Then a month later, I would do a video on a vacation. Then 3 months later, I would do a video on just something random, maybe a GoPro feature, like the ability to slow a video clip down. So I would spin my son's basketball and film it at 120p and then slow it down like 75%. I was just so amazed with that. But apparently the YouTube world and the internet wasn't really interested in that. And so my channel in 4 years only grew to 900 subscribers. And at that time, my channel was monetized. I was making like $30 a month on YouTube. And I was just so excited that YouTube was even paying me money to do something that I love doing anyway, making videos and talking about home theater. But in January of 2018, I decided to, I guess not decided, but I was wondering, could I grow a channel? And so I decided, what if I just make one video a week in a specific topic. And at the time, I mean, my biggest interest was, and still is, home theater. So Klipsch had come out with, or they had announced they were coming out with the RF7 version 3. I had version 1 and version 2, and a lot of people in the Klipsch community were asking, like, I wonder how these version 3s are going to sound. I have version 1 or I have version 2. Should I upgrade? And all these questions. So I reached out to Klipsch on Facebook, and I just said, hey, Klipsch, huge fan. I'm a moderator in your forum. I was in there every single night, just answering, hundreds of questions, just like we do now on Facebook groups and stuff, and just very active in it. I owned a ton of Klipsch gear. I had La Scalas in the theater room. I had their Pro Media bookshelves, or not bookshelf, computer speakers for my computer desk. And I had version 1 and 2. And so reached out to them and said, hey, got a small channel, but I love your stuff. And the community's going to be asking, and they're already asking, what are these new speakers going to be like? And I'd love the opportunity maybe to make some videos. And I shared with them some comparisons that I had done prior in the Klipsch community, but it was just photos, and it was side-by-side pictures. How do they compare in size and shape? And then of course sound. And that was their version 1, version 2, and the RF83s, which I also owned. So they said, we think it's a great idea. And I'm like, you do? I was really shocked that a company would even be willing, because I wasn't a reviewer. I was just an enthusiast. And so they sent me the RF7 3s, and I made 1 video, and I made 2 videos. I ended up making 15 videos on that 1 pair of speakers, because that was the only new Klipsch speakers I had. Everything else I've always owned was used. And I was just kind of amazed, because I gained more subscribers and I had more engagement in those 15 videos that I had in a long time. And so my brain started kicking in, going, I think I could actually grow a channel. I don't know what that looks like, but let me just give it a shot. And what if I just make 1 video a week, and let me just commit to a year? If it doesn't grow, then fine. I can always go back to doing 1 every 3 or 4 months. But the more I did it, the more I loved it. And I began to reach out to other companies. I reached out to SVS and said, hey, SVS, I've heard amazing things about your PB16. Everybody raves about them. I've never heard them. Klipsch sent me their flagship speaker. Would you be willing to send me your PB16 to review? And they said, we'd love to, but since you're a Klipsch guy, we would love to hear your thoughts on our speakers. And they said, would it be cool if we just send those to you first? And I said, well, sure. So they sent me the Ultra Towers. And then later on, I said, hey, I'm really more of a home theater guy than I am a 2-channel guy. So could you send me the center channel? And then I could at least kind of get a front sound stage of what that sounds like. They said, absolutely. So they sent me the center channel. Then they ended up sending me the SB16s, so the sealed version. So I had a pair of them. And then they ended up sending me a pair of PB16s. So at one time I had my front wall from outside to in was PB16s, SB6. No, I probably had the towers. I'm sorry. So I had the towers, the Ultra Towers on the outside. Then in between that was next to that was the PB16s. Next to that was the SB16s, and then the center channel. So it was literally wall to wall, 13 feet wide in my room, and took up all of my front wall. So that was pretty cool. Of course, box those back up, ship those back to SVS, and just began that journey. And so I think the next was Parasound. And then there were some Martin Logans along the way. There were just one brand after another, and just fell in love with it. And what I really enjoyed was the community aspect. Like replying to the community. I'm looking at the guys here in the chat, and a lot of these guys have been along my journey over the past 6 years on YouTube, going into 6 years. And so it's just been cool to get to know them and to get to know even closer on Patreon, because we do Zooms and hanging out weekly. And So it's just been cool, man. And to meet people in person, to be able to do home theater tours, literally all around the country, and then also even internationally on occasion. And then, of course, you know, it's just been wild. It has been absolutely wild. Never dreamed that, you know, a little guy from Plant City, Florida, which most people have no clue where that's at, could begin to build not only a YouTube channel, but to build a community of people that celebrate all shapes, all size, all budget home theaters.
Yeah,
I
look,
posted one today that was just super budget friendly, you know, up
yeah,
to the $1 million
like I
starter.
said, you've been instrumental to a lot of us here. You know, you said following you for 6 years. I've
Yeah.
been watching your videos for quite some time.
Yeah.
You know what? As a matter of fact, your theater was watching you, you know, move the screen up and down, you know, putting the speakers behind the screen. I had never seen anything like that before.
Mhm.
You know, watching your watch, it inspired me to want to put my speakers behind my screen,
Mhm.
and led me down the humongous rabbit hole of an
Yeah.
acoustic transparent screen and everything else like that. John Anthony, how I know that you and I used to, on Facebook Messenger, you and I used to share Michael's videos as soon as they were coming up, you know, just popping popping them back and forth. We would just share right away. How has he influenced you in any way?
Oh, absolutely, over the years. So what brought me to Michael's channel initially was when you have the clips, the Skylar. So
Yeah.
I started out as being a two-channel music listener. So I've been very interested when you were using the La Scala in your home
Mhm.
theater. I never thought anyone would be able to use the La Scala
Yeah.
in their home theater and actually makes it work.
Yeah.
So I finally able to get a pair of Cornwalls, the original Cornwalls lately that we talked about in the last podcast. And those, I never realized how amazing clip speaker the Heritage line can
Mhm.
sound, because most of the time, most people, you know, and I've owned clips for the past 10 years, different models of clips, all the way from the most basic up to now the Cornwalls. And I was amazed as the production of the sound. So that's, you know, when you started your channel talking about clips, I was like, I'm in. I'm watching every video pretty much that you made. And I just want to give you the biggest shout out, because when you blacked out your windows, I never
Yeah.
thought that was possible.
Mm.
So I think that's when Don sent me the video, and he's like, I think there's something you can do for your home, because to be able to control the lighting in your
Mhm.
dedicated home theater, it's huge, and I actually never thought about it. So I actually watched a video, bought exactly the same film, the same roll, and
Yeah.
You
went
probably
through it.
got that affiliate from him, Michael.
Yeah. I made that
Yeah.
3 cents, man. I appreciate it, man. I love it.
3 cents.
So yeah, so it's amazing. I took down all of my blinds, and I sure thought it would maybe take me an hour or two, end up
Yeah.
being like 6 hours project to do, but the end result, you can't beat it. The room is
That's great.
completely black out.
Hey, that's the thing with YouTube, right? They never tell you how long it really takes to do anything.
No.
You just
Through
Yeah,
the
pick up,
you
editing,
get a
man, we skip
20-minute
all
you
that.
see
video,
that
right?
you see that
Yeah.
10-minute
All the
video, and
headaches. Yep.
that was the same way I felt with the star ceiling. I watched this video. I can't remember the guy, but shout out to one of the few guys there. I watched this, was it 12-minute video? It's like, okay, I
Yeah.
got this. I went, I bought everything,
No,
and
the
that was
person
the
that
worst
showed the
thing I've
star
done.
ceiling the best was Tony. When
Mhm.
when the star ceiling fell in the middle of his install, he's the person that showed how difficult that thing was. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
every other person just sugarcoats it. Like, I actually recorded a video of me putting everything, but when I tried to edit it, I was cursing so much in that video, there was no point trying to edit it. So I just abandoned it. It's just like, nah, there's no point, because like, if the amount of time I cursed, anybody watching it would have just been like, you know what, there's no point doing this. So yeah.
Paul, we know you're the expert. already. So you probably didn't need much guidance from Michael, but anything you took from any of his videos or shows that he's recently put together?
I've just always liked his persona and his, the reality of, you know, it's all about an experience and having fun. It's not, once you get past the gear, right? I mean, you can, like right now, Trinov or Storm, whatever. That's the two top. Okay, well, that's it. Okay, I've seen them. But that's not what it's about. Like the latest video that you just did, I like that more than the high end, because once you've seen the best, well, okay, you've already seen it. Now what? The latest video about the guy, he, it was baseball and pop, characters or whatever they're called. I love that aspect of seeing the home theater tours more than I do. The way I like summarize it is there's a difference to me between a home theater and a theater in a home. If it's $100,000, that's a theater in a home. That's different. That's different than a home theater. Home theater is, hey, this is me. This is where I like to invite people. This is my personality. This is what I like to do to have a good time. Like when I have people over, half the people aren't even watching the movie. They're in the back talking, like, hey, what's going on? Oh, Paul, where do you know Paul from? And then all these stories start. And, everybody's got a story if they hang out with me long enough.
I was about to say, yeah. They got plenty of those.
That's what happened New Year's Eve. It was really fun. I had every room had people in it. People were playing, I don't know if you know Jackbox on on the big 150-inch screen. And I mean, it was so full. Like everybody was joining as audience members voting. It was so, it was such a good time. Everybody was having a good time. So, and it's, like you said, it's all about the experience in the community.
And I think, Michael, you show us that you don't need to spend an extraordinary amount of money to have a good theater. And you can buy it on the used market. I mean,
100%.
I never thought about buying speakers or any of these gears on the used market until I start watching your channel. That if you do your due diligence and you really do your research and look for deals, they're always there, always, constantly.
And that really came from just personal experience, because when we bought our home 17 years ago, it was Jessica's idea to have a dedicated theater room. And so the room on the floor plan was a media room. So it was just 13 by 19, 10-foot ceilings. It had a double sliding glass door. So it wasn't really a theater room, but I'm like, you know what? We could make this into a cool room. So I did what I preach on my channel, is like, do the best with what you have and make it work, whatever size room, whatever size budget. And so I just began to build it, but I knew she wasn't going to let me spend $50,000 on a theater room. So I had to get really creative. And part of that was buying used equipment, finding some really crazy deals along the way. I would find, again, I've owned a lot of clips, and there's a ton of clips out on the market. And so I would find those La Scalas. I paid $700 for all 3 La Scalas.
$700.
$700 for all 3. I bought a pair of them for $400, and I bought the other single for $300. And the single was out of state in like North Carolina. I threw it out on Facebook or in the clips forum, and I said, hey, I know this is a long shot, but I just bought 2 La Scalas. If I'm going to build a theater out of it, I really like the way these sound, I'm going to have to do another La Scala. I don't want to do an Academy Center channel. I think it'll be a compromise. And I said, just out of curiosity, does anybody have one? And would anybody be willing to sell a single? Which that just doesn't happen. Well, there was a guy that had 3 of them. He had just sold a pair of them locally. So he just happened to have a single. He just happened to be coming down from either North Carolina or South Carolina, where he lived, to Florida, and was happening to drive by, like literally the interstate that's 20 minutes from me. And he's like, hey, I'll be down there next month. If you're interested, it's yours. $400 or $300. And he said, I'll even deliver it and it'd be cool to just to hang out with you. And so again, this was way before, well, not way before my YouTube channel. I guess I had the YouTube channel by then, but he drove it down. We hung out. I didn't even have to test it, listen to it. I knew exactly what it sounded like. And the crazy thing is the La Scala's was almost identical to what I had. Like the finish was almost identical. And I was like, what is the chance of that happening? I mean, finding a single, but then finding one that looks identical to what I have. And so I was just blown away. If you can, I'll share my screen. I'll actually,
We gave, yeah,
my screen?
absolutely.
I'll show you guys.
So
right, share
looking at giving Safe and Sound a little bit of plug here, because I've bought stuff from them too, but 13,000 for the pair for 700
so
that
now
you got.
AL5,
That was quite a savings.
well, now granted, the speakers that I own, so I just shared it. So these were made in, oh gosh, now I have to remember, like 1980. At the time, they were almost, when I sold them, I think they were 40 years old. So these are the original La Scalas, like original.
Okay.
Then, of course, they later on came out with La Scala version 2, which are pretty expensive. I think they're like, I don't know, 6,000 a piece or 6,000 a pair or something like that. They also had the La Scala AL5s, which is what you pulled up. So that was not that version. So these are a lot older. These are super, super vintage. But I mean, they just worked. The mid-range horn on the La Scala is pretty remarkable. They have absolutely no bottom end. I mean, I think they start rolling off like at 70 hertz or something. It's pretty bad. So this is not this is a PA speaker. This is what they used to use in churches back in, a long time ago, back in the 70s or 70s, 80s, during that era. They would use these in nightclubs. They just basically, they're 104 decibel with 1 watt. I mean, these are the most sensitive speaker, high sensitive speaker I've ever owned. Just ridiculous output, crazy, crazy output with very little wattage. But you have to have subwoofers. And so I ended up, as you can see, with 4 of their older Klipsch RSW15s. And I think some of those I paid $250 for. Some of them I paid about $300. Typically that was about what I'd buy that for. But I just built everything on a budget because that's what I had to work with. I wasn't trying to impress anybody. I was trying to build my theater room to where it sounded great, something that I would enjoy. And it's been a wild journey.
This was, I came to your house probably maybe 2 or 3 months prior to you painting and getting the JTRs.
Yep.
You had the JTR RS2s, but you did not have the tower speakers for your LCR. And I can tell you, I believe you were running everything off of a monolith 11 channel amp, correct?
Yep, still have it.
And I can tell you what, man, I think we were at -10 and I was like, whoa, this is pretty loud. So, I actually did a video on my channel. It was like one of my first or second videos about Michael himself and just the hospitality and everything that he just his character that he has and his hospitality that he had with me. It just blew me away. And I actually lived in the South for 20 years. So usually you actually get pretty good hospitality in the South, but Michael was just above and beyond that. John, I appreciate you sending that. We are missing the CES. There's definitely some highlights there.
Yep.
that I'm missing there, and we'll get to that in a minute. If you wouldn't mind sharing my screen, Mr. Ike, let me put it up here for you.
Yep. If you can get your screen back up, I will share.
Let's get it here.
Are you sharing now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's a silhouette of me just sitting there.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh,
that's what
there
it
we go.
looked like. Thankfully, it
So,
wasn't something else, but good.
Michael, you've definitely come stride. A ton of. I remember sitting on your couch and you had about maybe 40. No, we were talking about another content creator. I think you had about 40 or 50,000 subscribers,
Mhm.
and now I think that other one that I pulled up. You're at what 129K, man. Unbelievable. It's all me. I play your stuff through the middle of the night and just let it run.
Just on repeat on 7 computers.
So,
I was like, I'm trying to help you out, bro.
I got
it's
like
just
14 VPN
I,
set up, and I'm watching Michael on 10 different computers for connection. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
farming my
I
channel,
don't know
man.
if Youthman should be worried about that or excited about
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I would be more worried if I was him. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
No,
So
if I pulled my YouTube channel, I mean, if I pulled up his channel on YouTube, you'd see just about every one of his videos has the red line across it. I'm a huge fan. I watch and just about every video and definitely appreciate our friendship too. 40 million views. Right before the end of the year there. Congratulations on that, man. I mean, just phenomenal. And then now 80 87th episode already? How did you already get to 87
For real,
episodes, man?
We've been doing this for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a long time. We've just been going, and we do it every Sunday.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's I enjoy the show. It's a segment in the beginning and a question and answer. Usually towards the back half of the show, and definitely enjoy contributing in the chat and listening to the show. So if you guys, and I doubt there are any people that are watching this right now that aren't a subscriber to Youthman's channel, make sure you go over there and subscribe, and also go ahead and give him a Patreon. Get set up on the Patreon for him. Speaking of that, what made you make the decision that it was like, I felt like Patreon, it's time for me to do Patreon?
Yeah.
What was the deciding factor of that?
Sure. One of the biggest thing is leading up, like the beginning of my channel, when I had 5,000 subscribers, I literally answered every single comment. I mean, every one of them. 10,000 subscribers. Pretty sure I was able to answer every single comment. When you start getting to 20 and then 30 and then 50, I think close to 50,000 might have been when I started my Patreon. I'm like, I can't connect with my audience like I used to. I still am active in every single video that I post, every one of them. I still answer questions and comments from videos from 6 years back. People say, hey, I know this is a really old video, but, and then they have a question. Well, if I'm able to answer it, then I answer it, or I heart it or reply to it or whatever. So I knew that I could no longer really provide I don't want to call it a service, but you know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't respond to every question. And especially there are people, I mean, I get emails every day, not every day, but every week, or comments. And it's like, it always starts the same. It's like, hey, Youthman, love your channel. Got a question. And then it's like a book. It's not one question. It's about 7 questions. And it's not something I could reply to in, 30 seconds. It's an in-depth kind of thing. And so I'm like, I just can't provide one-on-one support for 50,000 people, 30,000 people, 20,000 people. So I'm like, well, one way that I can do that is Patreon, because Patreon gives me an opportunity that these are kind of like my core people. These are the people that believe in what I do, that want to support. And there's different levels, man, from $2 all the way up to $100 a month. And it's completely like up to you. And as all of us that have Patreon, we don't expect anything. We don't, it's like, if you want to provide, or if you want to give, or if you want to be a blessing, dude, we would love that. And we are grateful for it. And especially once I became in January, I remember I started my channel and I started my growth, I guess, in January of 2018. And January of 2020 is when I went full time. And so when I went full time, it's like, okay, this is now my income. Like, this is what I do. I don't get a paycheck every week. I don't have a salary anymore. And so I'm looking at going, okay, YouTube isn't really paying that much. I mean, the ad revenue on a video that gets 10,000 views is like $40 or something, $60. I don't even know. And so you either have to produce a ton of videos, like daily vlog kind of thing, or you've got to figure out other ways to have revenue, other ways to pay your bills. And so Patreon is one of those things. Of course, things like affiliate marketing, which is when we review something, we're like, hey, if you like this Yeti, I'll have links to it down in the description. I'm not telling you you should buy it. If it's a good fit for you, if you like what it's about, if you find value, if it fits your budget, it helps the channel if you end up purchasing through my affiliate link. And so I began to do that. And then, other areas of revenue and just trying to make sure that I can provide for my family. So that was kind of where Patreon came in.
So what is your best video to date?
Best video to date is one of the 92 videos that I have on clips. Imagine that. So that's an older video, and it really was how to kind of hook up a system. It was real basic. It wasn't in depth. It was literally, we have this entire system, this Clips Reference Premiere system. It was a brand new, wasn't their Reference Premiere version 2 that they just came out with a couple years ago. Older than that. I think the video is 5 years old now, and it has just over 1 million views. And that video just walks somebody step by step. This is center channel. This is your speakers. And we're going to hook this up in my theater room. And I'm going to walk you through it. I talked about simple things like banana plugs. I literally installed the speakers on my wall, showed them how to do that. The toggle switch on the back of the Clips has an up-firing speaker or a height module or a height channel speaker, but it can also be used as a surround speaker. So there's a switch on the back, and I showed them, okay, here's when you would use the Atmos switch. And people today still don't know. They ask me, they're like, which switch do I use? And the only time you use that switch is if you're doing up-firing Atmos. You don't use it as a height speaker. You'd put that on surround. And of course, if you're using it as a surround speaker, then you would put it on surround. So really basic video, but it just apparently really connected with people. Lighting was pretty horrendous. I had an older Nikon camera. It wasn't good at all. And audio was pretty bad, to be honest with you. And so I look back and go, oh my gosh, man, why is the best video on my channel like one of the worst produced videos? But it just connected with people for whatever reason. And so that's the video.
So with that video you mentioned on that, and I'm just curious about that up-firing speaker there.
Yeah.
What was the purpose of the switch? Does it add like a different crossover point, or did it add a more dB?
No, I think, and my understanding is it does change something internally. Like I don't know if it's the crossover built in. I don't know exactly what it does. I don't think it's like an attenuator where it's boosting anything or cutting anything. It's just, for some reason, when you do a bounce kind of sound, they have to change something internally on that. Again, I don't know the full answer to that, what that actually does internally. But I looked at their manual and I read it and I'm going, this is confusing. Like, I don't even know what's the right answer, like when I need to use that Atmos switch. And so I had to email Clips and go, hey, I'm confused. And if I'm confused, there's probably going to be a good portion of my audience. They don't know either. Exactly. So I asked Clips and they said, okay, here's the only time that you need to put it on Atmos. And that's if it's an up-firing Atmos speaker.
So you have a YouTube shot that went viral from, I think it was from Audio Advice Live, right? Do you know how many views that stuff has now? So
I was going to mention that, Don. Back on that screen, it shows from 2022 2 and 2023 stats, and there is a big difference. If you're able to bring that back up, I'll show you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let me get back to sharing that. Yeah.
So you look at this and you're like, okay, Michael, that's impossible. You went from 6.1 million views to 18.2 million views. That doesn't even make sense. Well, what made sense is I was at Audio Advice Live, and like you said, I made a YouTube short, and that short was, I just happened to be in the lobby, and they were uncrating a B&W, Bowers & Wilkins Nautilus speakers, the one that looks like a snail. And I'd seen that speaker before. They even had it the previous year at Audio Advice Live. I'd seen it occasionally. I'd seen it, of course, a lot online, but I'd never seen one like being set up, nothing unboxed. And so I asked the guys, hey guys, do you mind if I film you while you set this up? And they're like, oh no, that's cool. And so I had my phone and I did a vertical video, for like YouTube short. And I filmed it, edited it real quick. I think I posted it within maybe 20 minutes of them doing that, because it's real easy to do a short. You can edit it on your phone with CapCut. It's a free software. And I posted the video, and I think that let me pull it up real quick, but I think the video got over 10 million views. So
yeah, I'm trying to look for it on your channel right now.
Here it is right here. I went to shorts. I went to popular. Right now it has 11 million views, but it hit 10 million views in like a week or a month or something like that. I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah,
but the majority of the reason why it went viral is for two reasons. Number one, the main comments were, I could build that speaker for $30.
Yeah.
The other comment, and it's an expensive speaker. Forget how much they are. Was it like $100,000 a pair is what it is. And so they're like, oh my gosh, $100,000 speaker. That's stupid. That's crazy. So that's the vast majority of the comments. The other half of the comments were, these guys are idiots. They cannot what are they doing? The way they handled it. And I had no idea. I'm just filming it thinking, okay, no big deal. And the way that it took like 3 or 4 guys to get this thing 1,000 comments on this video.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane.
So that's part of that's why it went viral, is because people were just like smashing it. They were like, this is stupid. This
Hollywood.
is crazy.
Everyone knows it in Hollywood.
And
bad press is better than no press.
Yes. Oh my God.
And usually bad press is more popular. Because there's always, conflict, and people love inserting their knowledge and opinion, and whether it's for good or bad. That's how we all grow, right? We all, well, this is what I think. Why do you think otherwise? You collaborate.
And it was all the comments about people wanting it to fall and break. Those are the ones that I found funny. I was like, why would you wish
I'm thinking one of those back runs would just snap off like an icicle. Like,
oops. There were a bunch of people just wishing that the speakers would just fall and break. Yeah. Come on, man. Yeah. Don't do that to the guys, man. Yeah. It's probably insured, but come on. Don't do that, man.
But when I was watching that video,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said when I was watching that video, I was waiting for Michael to try to bench press it like he did with the monolith amp.
Yeah. Oh, man. That probably wouldn't happen. The speaker's pretty heavy.
Your enthusiasm actually got me to buy. If you guys watch his video on the Martin Logan 60XTIs, I could just see Michael grinning from ear to ear. His expressions just sold that speaker to me, and immediately the next day I went out and listened to them at Best Buy. I probably spent 2 or 3 hours in Best Buy just demoing those speakers. Yeah. So it made me make that purchase. So I definitely appreciate.
There were plenty of days that I look back on that and go, you should have sold your clips, because I liked I liked the mid range much better on the 60XTIs, and I knew that. but I like the bass more on my RF7s. It wasn't drastic, but I just felt like I had more punch. I didn't have any measurements or anything. And I don't have the ability to put a subwoofer in the living room. That was kind of our agreement. Jessica said, you got a theater room, you can put all the boom you want in there, but let's keep the living room, if we can, just let's keep the 2 speakers. So what I do, I buy the biggest 2 speakers I can buy. And that was the dual 10-inch woofers in both cabinets. But ever since then, I look back and go, man, I loved the way they sounded. So when Martin Logan came out with the F200s, and they sent those to me, I'm like, it brought me back to the 60 XTIs. I'm like, this is what I really enjoyed, that folded motion, just driver, and having a dedicated mid-range driver or mid-range speaker, 3-way design. It's just a great product. And so I fell in love with that, and I was like, I think I'm ready to move on now. I've loved these clips for 5 years, but I think I'm finally ready. And so I ended up selling my clips and got the F200s and just super enjoy those speakers. But yeah, the 60 XTI are phenomenal, and they have one of the most beautiful cabinets with that. Is it mahogany, I think, finish?
Yes. Yeah.
Truly.
I actually have 2 white ones because my living room is white. So I was going to get a third white one and put it behind the screen and use the 2 that I bought from you as wide speakers.
Yeah.
But then more and more that I started seeing these home theater tours from you, from various other YouTube content creators, I started noticing that people were hiding their speakers, and I really liked the clean look. Nothing against, people showing their speakers, because, that was my plan all along, but I really wanted to kind of just be focused on the picture right down the wall. Right. I didn't want to see any speakers or anything like that. But now, Paul, you used to run clips, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was the model of clips you had before?
My latest was just the R series for all my Atmos, but I had the older, I forget what version they were. They weren't like the top of the line. They were just below that. I don't even remember. They were old. Okay. Not as old as like the Lascalas, but they were. I have no idea. The series all sound the same. It's like R3, 7, 6, or some number. But I don't remember. Yeah, I enjoyed them. They were good. I had many of their subwoofers that I didn't really care for. I had a total of 8 of their subwoofers. I got rid of all the 10s just because I wanted bigger. And out of 4 of the 15s that I had, now these were the older ones, not the current model, 2 of them ended up going bad within probably a year and a half, which I'm like, man, that's a 50% failure rate right there.
Yeah. So with the viral video that you had, you were at Audio Advice, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So so you get around to these shows, I guess, pretty frequently. And have you been to, what other shows have you been to? And we'll talk about your show that you've got going, that you've put together. But other than your show, what other shows have you been to?
Yeah, so there's a couple. So again, January 2020 was the first year that I went full time. Well, I was prepared that year to go to CEDIA. I had booked my flight, booked my hotel, had my ticket, everything was good to go. And literally a week before we're supposed to go, every company just starts bailing left and right. And I'm watching this website, and they're like, every day they're posting, okay, Yamaha backed out, Sony just backed out, Martin Logan just backed out, clips just,
Oh,
I mean,
man,
like
the
just,
minute Yamaha backed out, I'd have been out. Like, nope, sorry,
yeah,
done.
man, give my
Like, that means
refund.
it's
It's
not
just
worth
a
going.
cold, people. It's just a cold.
But they just kept going, and I'm like, well, there's no sense in me going to, to fly out there. I didn't have any sponsors that year. It was all on my dime, and I'm just like, I'm not going to be able to film anything. So it's like, who's going to be there? The brands that I'm interested, they backed out. So I decided to back out that year. So I didn't go to anything in 2020. So 2021 would have been my first year, and I went to Cedia. I guess it was 2021. Yeah, I may be getting the year wrong, but anyway, I went to Cedia. I went to Audio Advice Live, and then last year Atlanta Home Theater started their event. It's going to be an annual event, so that's definitely a much smaller event. It's kind of more like, I don't think it's necessarily invitation only, but it was a lot of their clients that were there. Really cool place. They basically had bought, the company's been there for many, many years, decades, and they bought a mansion, and that is their showroom. So in the mansion, there are definitely, some big rooms, and those rooms are theaters. Some of them are simulators, like a race car simulator, golf simulators in one room. They've got a room
Don't get
dedicated
John
to
Anthony
life.
started on that simulator.
Yeah, but it was cool, man.
Yeah.
So that was a great event. Definitely got to connect with a lot of great people in the industry. Jeffrey Heinzel, I think is how you pronounce it. So he's the owner of my Ascendo. So he was there. They brought their big 50-inch subwoofer, that massive
Wow.
joker. Yeah, so I got to demo those. Got to demo the Black Swans, which are phenomenal speakers. And just some really, really cool things. We got to do a kind of a comparison the next day. I don't even think we did really a comparison. We just had a Christie projector in one room. That was super, super cool. We actually just wheeled it in on this like cart and set it up in their big, big theater room. And that was the Christie Griffin. So it wasn't the Eclipse, the real expensive one. But still, I mean, I think the Christie Griffin, what does that run? Like $100 and something thousand. I mean, it's an expensive projector. So that was just a fun.
What that price is.
And then they also had, so a lot of their clients come, and they're high end clients. So in the parking lot they had police officers blocking off the road that goes down, and there's like 6 Ferraris, there's Porsches, there's a Lamborghini, and it was just a cool event, man. So, but yeah, so mainly that's the ones I've been to. Scott and Kat are in the chat right now, Living It with Scott and Kat podcast. So last year I attended their event. So for the most part, that's the 4 that I'm like, these are the ones that I want to invest in. I want to go to see Cedia. Part of why I go to Cedia and not see vacuum cleaners, fancy kitchen, anything electronics based. And it's just a massive show, man. I mean, I've heard Chana talk about it and how it's kind of overwhelming. And you literally have to go from one hotel to another to find certain booths. And sometimes it's like, so it's a big ordeal, but it's a super cool event. And a lot of the big celebrities, like I saw SVS posted, they came out with their new speakers, and they had Stevie Wonder sit down for I was about to say a couple hours, might not have been that long, but he was there for a while demoing them. So you run into more kind of celebrity people probably at CES, the iJustines and the tech people, Linus Tech Tips, and that sort of thing.
Speaking of those new speakers, the SVS, man, if you don't have those at the MWAVE, I'm going to have to deny my payment on those.
Yeah, I told Nick when I saw him post that, I told him, I said, hey, dude, you really ought to bring those to MWAVE. He's like, yeah, I think we can make that happen. So there's a good chance.
I got a picture of those. Can you share those?
Yeah, let me do that.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So Michael and I and Ike were kind of speaking yesterday. We just did a little trial run just to make sure everything was working correctly. And I had mentioned Focal Sopras, but he actually brought it to light a little bit better with the
Canto.
Focal Cantos. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you hit that right out of the park on that one.
They look
Definitely.
really. They do have a style of the Canto. A lot of people said in the comments, "Hey, these look like Focal," and I'm not real familiar with the Focal lineup, but I did a search, Focal speakers, clicked on the images. I'm like, oh yeah, they do favor them. So, but there's nothing new under the sun. I mean,
Yep.
everything, we get inspiration from a lot of things in life, and so you're not going to find something truly 100% unique ever.
Well, as you're, because the 60 XTIs that I have, they're pretty tall, right?
Yeah.
So if you got the tweeters in the top, it looks like they put these like right in the middle where the listening position would be, where you're sitting down on a couch or a chair or something like that. So, and then angled the mid range and the lows right at you,
Yep.
So I love the design of these. I was wondering what I was gonna see from CES this year, and this is one of the most exciting things that I've seen, and I can't wait to hear these. You know, I believe at your event, which is MWAVE, if you guys haven't been to MWAVE, make sure that you definitely get out to Kansas City. What's the dates on that, Michael? I'm going to pull up the website here too.
June, yeah, no problem. That's June 21st through the 23rd of this year. Super excited. This is our second year in Kansas City, or second year in the Kansas City Convention Center. It's our third year event. First year we had about 83 people. Paul was at that one, and we were just hanging out. It's kind of like some dudes. We had an agenda, but the schedule wasn't really structured, and we got way off on that just because of some delays and things took longer than we expected. But we had a great time, and we only had a couple of vendors there. A lot of stuff we bought, or I didn't buy, but Ryan bought, and the co-founder of MWAVE, and so that's where it started. That was at the Lead Center, so it was really more like a performance arts center. Wasn't real ideal, but it was cheap, and that was the biggest reason. We didn't have a budget, we didn't have any money, and we're like, we don't even know if anybody's going to show up, so let's find the cheapest place that would work. And so we had 83 people in this massive auditorium. I think the audience could probably seat, I don't know, a couple thousand people, and we got 83 people sitting on a stage. So we kind of reverse engineered it. We were sitting on the stage facing away from the audience. And so we did some speaker comparisons there. We did the room correction comparison. We did a projector comparison, which was huge, like a huge hit. And the next year we're like, okay, now this is at least proof of concept. People enjoyed it. They said they're coming back next year. What are our options? And we made the jump to go to the Kansas City Convention Center. And so there we rent out this past year in 2023, we rented out 14 rooms, and each of those rooms had either a brand and most of those rooms, they had Per Listen, they had Storm Audio in that room, they had row one seating. So a lot of brands, really, really great brands in there. Per Listen had their room. SVS had a killer setup, super affordable. You're talking about, anybody can afford home theater. You can have a whole home theater that they brought. I think what was it? Maybe $6,000, Paul, they said?
It was less
Somewhere
than
around
that
there.
without the subs. I
Without
think it
the
was
subs, it
around
was less.
Yeah.
$5,000 without the big subs. So, and that's a full immersive
Yes.
experience. And that honestly, that and the speaker comparison, because I was thinking about going Arendelle, or however you pronounce that, Arendelle. I always forget, but or something else. And after listening to the single speaker and then that theater and their center channel, I'm like, dude, price, and I know their warranty, and that's my big thing, is the warranty and the experience that every one of my friends.
On Thursday, so there's 2 tickets this year. Last year we had a bunch of tiers. We had general admission, then we had a VIP Gold, and VIP Platinum, different levels.
I'll still be wearing VIP, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. So they were different.
My
They were different.
own made VIP.
They were different levels, and honestly, it was complex. And some of the VIPs, the VIP platinums, we were responsible. That makes it really difficult when we're trying theater experience on people in these different experiences. And so these experiences, that gets you access to everything that we do at MWAVE, all of those experience rooms from the different brands. I think one of these home theater experiences. And so some of these sold out immediately, a few of them. Some of them we still have some availability. Some of them are almost full. And there's basically 3 different slots for just about all of those. There's a early evening time, and they're all different. Some of them are big, huge home theaters, really high-end home theaters. Some of them are definitely more budget friendly. There's kind of a map showing, where these are in relation to each other. That way, if you're planning on attending one or more, especially if you're doing more than one, it's kind of good to know, like, what's your route going to be. I mean, there's no sense doing one that's way over here across town, traveling all the way over to the other side, and then going all the way back where you started. If you can, try to group them together so it makes sense travel wise. So all that information is on the website, Midwest AV Experience. But we're just trying to have fun. And the biggest thing, and the reason why MWAVE kind of started, was I'd been to a bunch of different trade shows over the years. My audience isn't 2-channel, but the primary, like, why they follow my channel is because of home theater. And I looked around the US, and there wasn't a single home theater show that was literally open to the public at all. And so we're like, man, that's a need in our community. And so I'm like, what would it look like if we built this and if we started this?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so that's really where it was kind of birthed, was out of a need. And that's kind of where every invention is, it comes from. It's like, okay, I have this need. Somebody's in the world hasn't met this need. So let's see if we can figure it out. And that's really what we're doing. We're trying to figure this out because nobody has a blueprint for this, because nobody's ever done it. Nobody's ever tried to do a kind of like a trade show, and the fact that you get to interact with brands and see their new products and stuff. But on top of that, we're doing things like we're putting 250-inch screens, projection screens, in the same room, bringing in current projectors from the major brands, JVC, Sony, Epson, and we're putting them side by side. We're not trying to tell you who's the best. We're not trying to declare a winner. We're not handing out any trophies. We just literally want the community and consumers to be able to see side by side, because we know that you're able to look at something without bias, or as much as possible, and you figure out what you see, what you hear. Maybe we're doing a speaker comparison or subwoofer comparison, and it's not perfect. It's not a scientific experiment, but it's an experience you will not get at any other show. There are definitely a couple of smaller events that do some of the things that we do. Some of them do a speaker comparison. Some of them do a projector comparison or a projector shootout. But it's typically 20 people. And there's not an opportunity just to open it up to the general public and say, hey, look, if you want to come, come. And last year, and even go ahead.
Sorry, the brands that you have currently, is the website up to date as far as what we're seeing here? Are these the brands that you currently have? And I think
so these are the brands that have basically paid a deposit. We've got brands that say, like, I had a conversation even today with Arvolution. They're like, hey, we're coming. We're just trying to pay for CES. We just went to, there's a show, international, I forget the name of it. Anyway, there was another one that or maybe Munich, so they've got several that are international. So a lot of these brands, I mean, they're going to show from show to show to show to show. And so some of them are kind of like us, man. They're trying to figure out, and ours isn't expensive compared to the other ones. Holy cow. Like, there's no comparison in what we charge versus what a lot of like, if you go to Cedia, I have been told by certain brands, they spend $500,000 at Cedia.
Wow.
For their booth, for their, I mean, that's everything. Probably they've got to send 6 employees to man the booth. They've got hotel rooms for all of them. They got food. They've got Ubers, or they got car rentals. They've got flights. They've got to ship all their product. They've got to ship the booth there. They've got to pay the companies to bring their booth in. Some of these companies are building like dedicated theater rooms. They're not using an existing room. They're literally building one overseas, shipping it on a boat, assembling it at sea, so it can get stupid expensive.
Right.
And so we're trying to make something that's super affordable for consumers, make it super affordable for vendors, and let's just have a cool time. And so, like I said, yeah, that's current. I mean, we know MadVR is going to be there, but they don't have a room. They're just going to be in the rooms, like Kaleidoscape. They'll probably be there again this year, but they're not going to have a Kaleidoscape room. They don't need a room.
Right.
They're just
right.
in several of the rooms kind of thing. But pretty much most of the brands that were there last year, I would expect they're probably coming again this year. Like I've talked to SVS, they want to be there. I've reached out to, they have a company that they've kind of partnered with, which is Nebraska Furniture Mart. So I guess that's pretty big up in their area. We don't have them down here, but they carry a lot of these brands. And so last year was kind of a trial run for them, and to come and exhibit. They really, really love the engagement. They love the interaction with these are true enthusiasts that come to this. It's our audience, and so they're passionate about this. And plus they're buyers. Like a lot of people come to the show because they're thinking about upgrading something. Maybe it's speakers, maybe it's a subwoofer, maybe it's a projector. Maybe they have a TV and they're like, man, I keep hearing how this immersive experience with this big screen is like a real deal. It's a real game changer for home theater. But I've never seen a really nice home theater setup with a projector. So maybe they come to the show, or maybe they do one of these home theater experiences so they can see, is this something I want to do?
That's what
so Chuck did, right?
got Chuck to basically buy all in. He was like, oh,
he got hooked.
Okay. Now I see the difference.
Screen and a projector.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have my OLED and one in my barcade, and there's no comparison the image quality to that.
No, you're not going to beat it.
Even a barcode is not going to get as crisp as an OLED, But man, that immersion. Yeah.
I didn't even know this. So speaking of that, Christy can actually turn, like, we think you can't fully turn the light off on a projector.
Yeah. That way, I would. Have
you're
to see.
right.
Maybe there's new technology, because I could envision some sort of, just like OLED interacts, with their see-through glass. I could see it, if they implement some sort of technology, like, I don't know if you've seen like windows that can, once you electrify them, they go full tint, right? And so then you could put something in front of that to basically, it's like masking, but near field masking to give true black.
That's a great idea.
But the problem with that, and what you would run into, is you still, in order to have 100% accurate color, white, aka the lack of every color, has to be your base. But if you have white, it reflects any light. So there's no way to get true blacks unless you have a black background, which is what the advantage of like a TV would have, versus your white base of a screen that's projecting a reflection back to you will also reflect any other light. So you would literally have to have a room that you can't see your hand in front of your face type of light control. Then even with what I just mentioned, if it was a technology that existed, even if you had that without a 100% dark room. So there's so many physics that people don't, understand what the difficulties are that they're trying to overcome. So
I just saw a comment from Ryan Ascend AV, and he mentioned that we were talking about the brands. So he said he's already talked to Storm, Barco, Seymour, Cinemike, Ascendo, Christie, and several others. So
I've seen many Christie's. I've only seen a few Barcos, and I was like, man, I'd love to see those, like, next to each other.
That'd be a shootout for sure.
Shoot, I didn't even
Yeah.
know
I think I
Sony
paid.
had the 90,000 or the 300Z until the first day. I was like, oh, I didn't even know Sony had these.
Yeah, so
Because I
Sony
thought
has
they
a
went
GTZ,
straight up
right?
to, you know, the
Mhm.
$500,000 ones. I didn't even know they
Yeah.
had the, you know, the.
That was
Yeah, I
the
think the Sony
380, right? Is it a
380Z.
GTZ 380 or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
Yeah.
GTZ 380. At the time, I think it was about 80,000. It may be a little bit more now, maybe 90, close to 100, maybe. But yeah. So that's like Sony's Mac Daddy. I don't know if they go any higher than that, or maybe
Oh
like
yeah,
in commercial.
they have
Commercial
commercial
sense.
stuff. Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I didn't know they had like a consumer brand. Yeah, they definitely
Yeah.
have the commercial stuff. I didn't
Right.
know
Sure.
they had
Yeah.
that consumer
You know,
model.
what I didn't know is Christie also has kind of like consumer. You know, you know about the Eclipse, which is like 450,000. That's their Mac Daddy. Then you got the Christie Griffin. I don't know the exact number, but let's say it's 140,000. But then they've got some other ones that are more affordable. You know, I don't know if they're 40,000 or 30,000, but it's still not 140 kind of thing. So I didn't realize they had a
Right.
bunch of different models on their website when you go
And a
and
lot
look.
of those are for presentation, not
Mm.
necessarily, you know, projection. Because a lot of their expensive ones are
Yeah.
like here in Kansas City. If you want to see a Christie projector, like in the world performing, you go to the casinos and you'll see
Sure.
them all over. They'll have, you know, like the sports bar that they have, they'll have one that's just like this ultra widescreen that has picture in picture in picture, like 6 channels on each side, and then the main that they actually have refracted to where it's a curved wall. That's the screen, and they have all that digital stuff that they can do with those fancy projectors that make it look like, oh yeah, that it's coming out of the wall, not being projected, and the fact that there's so much light in that area and you can see those just fine. They even project them on glass that you can see through, but yeah, you can still see the image on them. That's why those things are so expensive. They're amazing for what they do, but not in my price range.
So I'm definitely going to be in attendance this year. I've already purchased a couple of my my theater tours there. Mr. I, can you share the screen there? So I think I'm going to be going to Mr. Ryan Kramer's and Sheldon Carpenter, and then also Jonathan. I know that there was a technical difficulty for me purchasing Jonathan's, and I've sent that to you via PayPal separately. So I'm looking forward to the home theater tours. That's what I like the most. You know, that's why I do this show, because I just like showing everybody's, you know, home theater, whether it be a 100,000, 200,000, or 30,000, or $20,000 theater, or even 10,000, whatever it may be. I just enjoy showing, you know, other people's ideas, and you know, you get a vast variety of people and being very creative, you know, in building out their space. And that's something that I always liked that you did, you know, on your channel. And you know, that's why we did that. Speaking of being creative, Mr. Paul, what's going on with that barcade, man? I'm curious to know what's going on with that thing.
It's done, and I already had a party and an event there.
Man,
it's pretty good. Pretty
It was
good
a big
time.
hit, wasn't it?
Yeah. I even made a little video, and I gave to the guys so they could show it off. So
like, I don't know if we may get some lag trying to show that video, but I did see it. You did a fantastic job producing that video too. We're going to get that posted on Ike's channel or my channel, one of the two, so that we can share that video. Are you able to give us a little tour through now, or prior to? Because I don't know if we show the video on YouTube if it'll actually start lagging or not, because it seemed like we were getting a little bit of lag earlier.
I would have to switch cameras. I could do that.
Let's do that. We got plenty of stuff to talk about while you're here.
All right, I'll do that. I'll be back.
So speaking of CES, I know that Independent Dream says CES is crazy this year. First of all, I want to thank everybody in the chat. Chat's been going crazy today, so thank you all for joining the live stream. Definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, email us at Home Theater Hub. What is it? Like Home Theater Hub Live at gmail.com, correct?
Yeah, I'll put it up in the chat. So
put it up in the chat so that we can have some new guests on. And the idea, honestly, guys, is just to have a big party. Let's have a Zoom party or a big get together to where we talk over each other and just show each other stuff. So with that being said, I'd like to show something that I just received my Christmas gift.
Uh-oh.
So I'd like to show this. Let's see here.
Coming?
This is one of my Christmas gifts that my wife got for me.
You ready for me to share?
Yeah, it's coming now.
Okay.
So,
custom sign.
Got me a sign to go over top of the door. It's
There you go.
Got a cinema sign. I was real excited to get this. The yellow mark here is just that's just the reflection from the light. But yeah, I mean, was super excited to open this up, give some character to the outside of the theater prior to coming into the entry.
Is that like
the other? Go ahead.
Is that a backlit or solid?
Yeah. You actually plug it in, so
Nice.
it is backlit.
Very
So
cool.
I'm gonna wire an outlet on the other side so that I can. I'm glad this came in now because a couple of weeks ago I'd have had to take drywall down to wire it if I would have got the drywall started. So glad that the holidays held me up from putting up drywall. But yeah, she surprised me with this. Came in the mail the other day, and she told me she got me something, but it was on the way.
Nice.
Just came from the UK. She also got me a couple of the signs off of Etsy for one for Zapiti, the little metal tin signs.
Yeah,
that,
sure.
Got me that, and I think one for Dolby Atmos. So I'm excited to get those up as decorations on the outside. Anything, Ike, you got anything coming new to the theater while we're letting Paul get ready for his barcade here?
I gotta get behind that rack and start doing all that cable management to install the new AVM 70.
Oh, that's right. You put out a video today with unboxing that, right?
Yes. So if you haven't seen that, take some time to go show that video some love and like, share, do all that good YouTube stuff. But yeah, I've had it sitting for a while, like you already knew. And I just never wanted to open it because I didn't want to go in there and do all that cable management. You know, some people like it. I don't.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of work swapping out.
Yeah. So I finally
got one too. I got to do it.
Yeah. So I finally got to unboxing it. The goal is to expand the home theater from a 744 to 946. And well, with a processor now, it means that I need additional amplifier.
Amplification, yeah.
Like, come on, man.
That's the way this hobby works, man.
I could have just plugged it in my Denon and it would have just worked. But yes, and yeah. So I have 3 of the OSD amplifiers. I went to the website to try to get a new one, and it looks like they're out of stock. They're no longer selling it. It actually is labeled discontinued. So that gives me a sign that OSD is probably coming out with something new because they have them labeled as discontinued by manufacturer on the website.
Right.
You know, and so I'm kind of torn between that. Do I go buy a different brand? I kind of want to keep all the amplifiers the same. So I'm just going to start looking for maybe a B stock out there, or just hopefully wait to see. I've been kind of scouring the news trying to see if maybe they announce something at CES. I don't even know if they're there, but I haven't seen anything else. But yeah, that's where I am,
Mhm.
and I'm doing a little bit back and forth trying to decide on what to do about a projector. I think that's something that might be coming sooner than expected, and
What are you running now, Ike? Remind me.
I have the Sony 325 ES.
Okay, 325.
Yeah, the 325 ES, and
Yeah.
yeah, I
What are
think
you
I'm
What
gonna
are you
tie it
thinking? What are you kind of considering
JVC.
if you when you upgrade? What's that? A
JVC.
JVC? I'll
That's
be
about
honest,
it.
it's hard not to, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about it. So JVC, but I'm trying to decide. MP5 and Z7 and all that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, trying to make the best decision for
Yeah.
my use case, right? Because
Sure.
like you guys would always say, it's all about the use case, not just buying it because you want to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
that's really where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. What about you, Michael? You have any future upgrades on the horizon, or what do you got in for review now?
Not really. So I just finished up. I just shipped back all the Arendal speakers. I had 7 of those. I had a LCR, well, left, center, right, 2 surrounds, and then 2 subwoofers. So I just shipped those back like 2 or 3 days ago. So that cleaned up some boxes in my garage. I still have the F200 series from Martin Logan. So I've got the subwoofers I've got to get added to my living room setup, calibrate it again, do a final review on that system. I've got the Denon 4800H in for review. I've got the Anthem AVM 70 in for review. I
Oh, nice.
have what else? Oh, I'm working on a video this week. I've already written my notes, got my review, but there's 3, I don't think I have them in here, 3 sets of headphones from Edifier. They sent me kind of like their budget, their kind of mid-tier, and then their flagship. So it's like $80, $180, and $400. And so I'll share kind of the differences between them. And what else do I have for? Oh, actually, I've got a Trello. I could actually just look. Forgot. So I use a software called Trello, and it just it's free. But I can look and see. I've got a tab.
What's that, like an organizer?
Kind of. You make columns of. So like I have one called a board called YouTube videos, and so I have a column that says evergreen videos. These are just ideas. These are evergreen
Okay.
videos are videos that don't really expire. This would be something like how to connect an AVR. Well, that's universal. That's always going to stay the same. Technology may change, so down the road I may have to redo the video because maybe we got a new
Right.
format better than HDMI or different than HDMI. So I may have to talk about that or how to calibrate this. But those are evergreen. So then I've got an AYQ, that's answering your questions. So these are questions that come in. Sometimes I'll see a question come in and I'm like, man, that'll make a good video. That'd be a short video. I can answer that in 5 minutes. So I've got a column for that. I've got a Dolby Atmos column. I've got an answering specific questions. So that's not answering their questions. It's just how to connect this, how to do this, a lot of how to set up this. I've got a teach specific skills. This would be things like RAW, how to set it up, how to calibrate it, whatever. I have review videos. So in that column, I've got Edifier.
You're giving all your ideas away.
Here's the thing.
I know, right?
Well, here's the thing, though. I've never, ever, ever been a gatekeeper. I'm the guy that, if somebody asks a question, like I've had many over the years, the past 6 years, I've had many content creators reach out to me, or I even reach out to them. I just say, hey, look, if you ever have any questions, I'm not the guru. I don't know everything, but what I do know, I'm willing to share. I'm not a gatekeeper. I don't.
Not to cut you, Michael, but I think Paul is ready. I know he's
okay. Cool.
Awesome. We're going to get back to that gatekeeper,
Yeah.
because I got some material on that too.
I had a tab open, so I didn't
Paul,
see.
Are you ready for us? Can you hear us? You're on mute, I think.
I can't see him yet. There's a black square. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
Can you hear me? Is the
Yeah.
question.
We can
I don't
hear
have
you.
headphones on right now. I couldn't find my headset.
Dude,
I
that
know we
looks
kind of
so
put you on
dope.
the spot. I appreciate you doing this.
Paul, I'm
Can you hear
serious.
me?
I love yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes.
I love the backlit. That looks sick, bro.
Yeah, I always wanted to. I seen the TVs and I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
cool, but I've never seen
I
it
like it.
in a full 150-inch projector. And this is the kind that does the, I can do the theater or theme mode or whatever it is, and it'll interact with the screen all around, which I
Yeah.
don't
Oh,
really
wow.
use
Yeah.
except for, parties and stuff like that.
Sure.
But yeah,
Yeah.
but
But it's cool.
it
It's a
throws
cool
some
vibe.
good. Yeah, exactly. That's what it does. So this is the theater, and I made a little cover for all my equipment, so you can't even really see.
Nice. Look
It's
at you,
all
bro.
hidden. That's my latest little thing. But and of course the seating, I have the same
Mhm.
lighting under the seating and
Oh,
stuff like that.
nice. Look at there, man. I hadn't seen this in a while. That is
Yeah, so
super
that's
dope, man.
and then
I was like, forget
the
them
base.
Valencia seats. I'm gonna make them.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
and of course, I've got sound treatment up there in the
Yeah.
windows at the top,
Look at that.
and mostly I did that for lighting. And then of
Yeah.
course behind that center, that's all glass windows. So
Mm.
and behind that center I have glass as well. And then of course I've got my
Acoustic
homemade
panels,
sound panels and
DIY.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've made many of those, which you'll see in here. And this is my latest addition, which is pretty cool. That's my front door entry, but I don't know if you've seen this, Michael.
I
This is
haven't,
my
man.
bar
Look
cave
at there.
Ooh.
I knew you were working on it, but I hadn't seen the final product.
So
Look at that.
I've got the Anderson bar right there,
Yeah.
of course. And then I made these sound I got my games, of course.
Yeah, sure.
I've got all the games,
Like
which are cool.
Like the bar stools.
Yep. And I've got I made those sound panels. They're game, arcade, that's Monopoly and
Right.
Super Mario Brothers. And then I've got some of this stuff, my OLED. I've got, I'm a beer connoisseur, so I've got a
Yeah.
little map there with the beer and stuff like that.
Nice.
And then more stuff like that. And then I've got it gets kind of cold in here every now and again because again there's all window there. So
Sure.
but yeah, I've got the little infinity table. Jessica is the one that wanted that, so so I
Nice.
had to have that. I put that little Pac-Man stool over in the corner because I've got two of them over here. And then this actually I'm kind of proud of because I don't know if it'll switch to portrait or
Oh, it did.
whatever.
Yeah.
This is my photography work.
Oh, nice.
Look at there, dude. And you got
Yeah,
such a creative eye. I love watching your coffee photos, and you just got a cool eye for photography, man.
Yeah, he did an
Yeah,
excellent job on this video that he sent. He did an excellent job editing the video too. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
you
you
guys
get that
should
posted
try
online,
to show
let me know.
that.
Yeah, I'll post it tomorrow. And it's amazing because this space you're looking at, guys, a couple of months ago, it was that cabinet that's right there and a bunch
Yeah.
of bicycles and car keys and shoes.
Oh,
was what
and here's the
you
other
had
thing.
in
and
that
Ike sleeping
entire
on the floor.
space. In that
Just
entire space. I don't know how he
just
changed it up.
yeah, oh yeah, I was working, many, many hours. And the funny thing is, us, us males as our gender, if you would, everybody likes the two things that they like. One, the infinity table. That was
Mhm.
Jessica's idea. And also, this back wall here is chalkboard.
Yeah.
So this is all chalkboard that you can, write on. And people love people love those two ideas. And that's like, yeah, that's all Jessica, of course. And I've got like all this paint work,
Right.
this photography work mounted. I made this bar. I
That's
hand made
good.
this bar, and it's, I mean, that's a, I'm no professional woodworker like Chuck, but I mean, for a engineer, that's a pretty decent bar there, So
And that's one
You did
piece
a
of
good
wood, Paul?
job on this, man.
no, actually, there's a story to this. It's so long that there's
Yeah.
a seam right here.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure you could, if I zoom in on it, you could
Now I can.
see
Yeah.
it.
Now
Yeah.
I couldn't see it before. Okay.
Yeah, you got to zoom in pretty close. But I had this
Okay.
thing all put together, ready to seine and stand, and I had it pushed up against the garage door. And when I opened the garage door, the little metal support bars, it got caught on one of those, lifted up like 4 feet in the air, and fell, and the seam snapped. I was like, oh man, it took me it took like 3 days of work and sanding to get it there, and then it just snapped in half. I was so mad. I was like, oh, there were so many words. And then I've got my
Yes. Yeah.
SDS that I proudly won at that virtual audio. I forget the name of that. I don't know why. The Daily Hi-Fi thing. So and then of course I've got a mobile VR headset,
All right.
but other than that, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean it's a humble thing. I
Nothing
think
humble about it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that thing was awesome. I just tried to go onto the shared link that you gave me through Facebook Messenger. I couldn't pull it up. I was going to try to show your video, but for some reason it says it's unavailable. But yeah, we'll definitely get that posted.
I downloaded it last
I'm
night.
security conscious there. If you didn't download it within a day, you ain't getting it again, buddy.
Yeah,
I leave
I
my stuff
already
wide
downloaded
open.
it.
It's copyrighted. Yeah.
It
I
gets
downloaded
I was like,
it.
I'm
I'll
the
post
hacker
it
around
tomorrow.
here. You ain't hacking.
Yeah. Now I plan on the thing that I want to or would like to upgrade in here is the furniture doesn't flow in here. I think once I get a better couch, something that to me, I want to be able to get one that'll do like a pit couch, to where if it's just me and Jessica, we could just like full, stretch out.
Right.
And if it's 5 people, I can stretch it all the way across to be like 5. Because this is a pretty long couch. I think it's 9.5 feet wide, and there's still another like 2 feet to fit. But I mean, I've had this couch for like 20 years, and it's white, so that's how OCD or particular I am. Not OCD, but I'm like, oh, a spot, I gotta clean it. So, and I still have the signed Youthman gloves. I just thought that was funny.
I love that. That's awesome, dude. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I just
poop
do
emoji
that
still.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Still got the Pumoji. I mean, because again, my space is for an experience, and I have friends over, and when they bring their kids, they always gravitate toward the poo. Like,
yeah.
So
they always do, man.
Yeah, it's just like, yep, that's where I'd be. So
you got poo poo on your floor, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
awesome.
it's a fun space. I mean, like I said, it's good times, and of course, there's
it's good until you just showed that red and white thing on the floor there.
Yeah, it's we could stand to do a little better. I mean, as good as we are this year, there's definitely room for some improvement there. But yeah, and I like the fact that we talk about approachability and stuff like that. Like although it takes a little more work, I've done all the lighting and stuff, and I can change it too on the fly. This is all Govee integrated.
Right.
So it's not, Philips Hue, which is, and the app is a little finicky. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of their UI per se. It's like there is nothing. I'll just say it. There's nothing intuitive about the app. But once you figure it out, it's like, oh, okay. For the price, it's amazing. It's like, oh, okay, shoot, man.
Hey, don't talk about my Govee curtain back there, okay?
I know, right?
I got the curtain going.
So, but anyways, and it's just a fun space that.
And you still got the same screen you won from MWAVE?
Yep, that is the one that I lost from
That's awesome.
MWAVE. That the oh man, he's in this area that he was like, oh crap, I just measured my room. I can't
Yeah.
even fit that screen. It's so large. Yeah, now talk about a Youthman deal, right?
Yeah.
Free. You can't get
Yeah.
any more
Yeah.
Youthman deal
And
than
that's a
that.
beautiful picture, man. I mean, that blue is actually making those colors pop too,
Pop,
with the
yeah.
bias lighting on the back of it. It's
Oh
really
yeah,
making that.
I know how to make things look, you know,
Oh, see, I told you
better
were the
than they
expert.
are. But yeah,
That's
I mean,
awesome. I think
you
you've
know,
done a killer job, Paul. Seriously,
I got
straight
to
up.
do the Titanic. I got to be the second person to do the Titanic demo.
I couldn't
No.
believe that. That was wild. Yeah. That was the
Oh
first
man,
for me.
but
I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah, oh yeah. I've got, you know, just like everyone else, I've got the fancy movie players here, so um
Yeah, we
Well,
just
you
need to
do
get your
yours through Plex
kaleidoscope.
though, right?
I have to say that, man. We just need to get your kaleidoscope.
this is actually Zadoo, actually. This is
that's,
just
yeah, I was
Okay,
about to say that.
Zadoo.
Easy to- yeah.
So, yeah. So, and you got, you know, just like everybody, you know, you can do that, or I can do like Blu-rays, which are basically the ones that I have that are ISOs. You know, these are like the full ISO images. But for space, I usually convert them to blue or 4K or MKVs is what I meant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got all the stuff, and I like this. And I've been thinking about getting that HD Fury to control the Dolby Vision, because unless you have something like the JVC that does the tone mapping, you need something that will kind of brighten or set the reference of what the projector is capable of.
Doing,
Where on some of your nicer projector, and that's the only reason I'm interested. I'm thinking, oh, maybe that HD Fury will be able to say, hey, here's my top limit, so tone map this Dolby Vision down, which is built into like a JVC and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's what I do with mine actually. So it's a really good device. It can get finicky sometimes because you have to go in there. You can actually go in there and put like the numbers and all that stuff. You know, it's something that I think you would like, just the technical side of you.
yeah, and yep, and
You are going to play
that's
around with it, and
I would be the guy that would figure
yeah,
every
you'll be that
setting
guy.
out and be like, oh, yeah, don't worry about that setting, or oh yeah, you got to do this and that. And that's I am looking to maybe get into that just to see if it does make a difference. But anyways, I'll go ahead and meet you guys back in the room here, so I'm not holding my phone and talking on speakerphone. But
No problem. No problem. Hey,
anyways,
thanks for sharing that. That
Yeah, it looks
I
great,
think
man.
it turned
I
out
guess
absolutely
yeah.
fantastic.
I
And
usually, and then here's the other thing. I have the 3 bar stools behind. Oh, sorry,
I
I
should go
didn't.
back. Yeah, let me go back to the share. I thought you were
Because
done. So
this is in, yeah, the thing is like, and usually I have the lights dim if I'm having a party, but you know, this is what's nice. Like literally whenever I had my last event, you know, people were sitting here, standing over here in this room, you know, that place was full of people, and of course here everybody was sitting down playing the jackbox and stuff like that. And of course I was in here trying to beat my high score. 140 million on Thor, I got, by the way.
140 million.
Yeah, 140 million. Whenever I first got the machine, me and Jessica were looking and we were like, oh my gosh, we got like, I don't know, like 60, 70,000. We were like, oh man, that's a
Wow.
high score. And then we saw the high score and we were like, 5 million. I was like, what? There's no way to get 5 million. And now I have 140.
Killing it.
I was
Yeah,
like,
my
oh
son
man,
would give me
okay.
all of about 5 minutes, so I'd get about 10,000 points, and I'd be done. So
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's what happened. So, all right, I'll see you guys in a
all
second.
right.
All right, bye.
So getting back to a statement that you made, Michael, you talked about being the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned in the intro, that you know you've had tons of influence on this community, and you know, I'd like you to pull up pull up the my shared screen if you can.
Okay. Let me give me a second.
You know, one thing, you know, that I really love about your personality and your passion, you know, that is that you're just willing to extend an arm to anyone, right?
Mhm.
So this was a post that you had for, you know, for Haterade, you know,
Yeah. Jordan.
asking everybody to go check out his video. Jordan,
Yeah.
he was in the chat a little bit earlier. Thanks for supporting the show, Jordan. We really appreciate it. You know, this was just one example, right? So another one. This is us tonight. You know, Michael's not making any money on this. He's not live streaming to his channel.
Dude, peace out, fellas. It's been fun, man.
You know, he's just doing this, you know, just because he loves the hobby, and two, I really believe that the passion that he has just to help others, you know.
Yeah.
So this is another one. Brett, he was on Brett's show, you know, just listing, you know, using his platform to help others. You know, this one really struck me, you know. Chris from my home theater my home theater. He talked about, you know, making content and how he's become a friend with Chris and wanted to help him get over the hump of 3,000 subscribers.
I was hoping we'd get him there, man. That would have been cool.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, just you know, very unselfish of you, and you know, Scott and Kat was in the chat. I don't know if they're still on or not, but you know, supported them from day one from their podcast that they're doing, and we hope to have them on. And he mentioned in the chat that he'd love to join. You know, had plans to join our show too. So, you know, just a pure. I guess it's the word for selfless, you know, I guess promotion for other channels, you know, and other people in this hobby, and was a big inspiration to me. Michael, why do you not see this as a competition? You know, why do you see this as just a platform to help someone?
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. I mean, my faith is integrate. I do my best. I'm not perfect, far from it, but I try to integrate my faith in everything that I do, from a personal aspect, even to business, even to YouTube, because that's who I am. It's not something I do on Sunday mornings and Sunday nights. It's who I am. And as a Christian, I'm supposed to love God and love others. And the love others, basically, there's another part to that. It says, love your neighbor as yourself. So if I want to love my neighbor as myself, if I needed something, or if I could benefit from something that somebody else had, I would want them to give it to me. But the same thing, if I've got something, whether it's knowledge, whether it's experience, whether it's information, whatever, I want to be a help. I just truly do. And I look at it this way. There is enough people on this planet for all of us content creators, every single podcast, every single channel on home theater. You know, yes, we are pretty niche. I mean, home theater, it's not that viral video that I had was very, very rare. Most of my videos, you know, I mean, they may be 10,000 views, 20,000 views, 50,000 views. Very few are ever going to be multi-million. But then you watch another channel that has millions of views. So those are huge markets. Home theater really isn't a huge market. So it'd be easy for me to go, you know what? I'm going to keep all my secrets, like you mentioned earlier. Dude, I can't tell you how many content creators I have been on Zoom calls with, phone calls with, and just to say, look, I'm here to be a resource. If there's anything that I can do, if I can get you connected with a brand, if I can tell you some ways that I monetize my channel to be able to if you're looking to do this full time, it's a grind. It's 100% a grind. You start.
We saw that from the 900 videos, right?
Yeah. Well, but even like, I remember Jessica, she would tell me, she's like, Michael, you make 4 videos a month. It takes you 8 hours per video to film and edit. So that's 32 hours a month you're putting into this, and you're making $30 a month in ad revenue. She's like, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm looking at this thing long term. I'm going to at least give it a year, see if I can grow the channel. Had no idea it would turn into 40 million views. Had no idea it'd be 130,000 subscribers. That blows my mind. Had no idea I'd be starting my own show, not show, but like a AV event. Had no idea I'd be doing a weekly podcast. But all those things just began to build on one another. But along the way, here's the thing. I've always heard, if you get to the top of the mountain and you look back and there's nobody following you, what have you gained? So I don't want to get to what maybe some people in our niche would consider success, but look around and I've got nobody to celebrate with, nobody to say, hey, I helped get them I helped them in their journey, put it that way.
Amen to that. There's a lot of people are really good about that, and that is the community is really good. But there is the people that they're looking to be the go-to or the I'm right, or
I'm the source.
I'm the source, and to try to tear other people down versus what most people can give, and people think they can't afford, but everyone has, is the ability to motivate others. Because I give the analogy, like in life, we're all climbing, like you said, trying to climb and get out of the, we don't want to be at the bottom, right? And you can either tie on to someone, if someone's willing to, motivate you and help you out, and you're both climbing. And if someone slips and falls, you can hold them, be their lanyard to keep them from falling to the bottom, let them get back up, and you guys and gals help each other. Or you can just, hey, you're slowing me down, and untether and try to make it to the top. But like you said, if you get there, 2 things: you're there by yourself, and let's face it, once you get to the top, there's only one place to go down. And if you, don't have friends, family, and experiences that others can enjoy with you, the climb back down is there's no point.
Painful.
Yeah, it really is. So that's one thing we really like about your channel. It's
definitely.
You're never, oh, this person or that doesn't do, they don't, this, that, whatever. It's never about that. It's just, hey, do you like audio? I like audio too.
Right, exactly. If you're willing to be friends with me, I'm willing to be friends with you. It's funny. I had a guy, he said, I made a post just yesterday, and he said, that guy's uptight. Like, me? I've been called a lot of things in my life, but I have never once been called uptight. I'm like the most laid back, easygoing, have fun. But it was funny how he said that. I was like, okay. So that's just his view of what he sees either online or maybe in some posts online.
Oh man, I could see someone calling me uptight, but like, I'm like, what they would call Michael uptight? Like, okay, what? That doesn't even compute. But like, okay, must have been, a specific situation that barred that representation.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I know that. I'm sorry. I know that John Anthony and I, we've done a lot of trying to help people through Messenger. Because like Facebook Messenger, we met a lot of Facebook friends, and we'll help out and try to do what we can as for what little knowledge I have. But I try to model myself after Michael and just help as many people as we can. John Anthony, you've helped a bunch of people, in this space. What are some of the conversations that you have, and especially you've actually grown a couple of Facebook groups too. What are your Facebook groups?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough, and actually, after watching Michael's video on the HTTP1, I knew that
Mhm.
was the processor for me. It's not extraordinary expensive, and it checked all the boxes that I needed for my home theater. So I was lucky enough to get one of the earlier HTTP1 into my home, and at that time it feels like a lot of people were very confused as to what are all of those functions on the HTTP ones. And
Mhm.
also, the main thing about the monolith brand too that a lot of people don't really think about is that, especially for the subwoofers, those are not plug and play. They are not like the SBS where you can just plug it in and turn it on your phone, and then you can adjust all of the PEQ or whatever you like to do. Those monolith subwoofers takes a lot of time and a lot of energy to set it up correctly. So that's when I fell in love with the Monolith brand at that point, and I was able to purchase 3 of their subwoofers, the HTB1, and then I move on and also bought the amplifier, the X7,
Yeah.
because you mentioned how much you love your
Still
X11.
have it in my setup now. The 11.
Yep, yep, and it's a solid
Mhm.
amplifier that I still
Yeah.
use to today. And so I look on Facebook to see if there's any groups that has support for a monolith or a
Mhm.
monoprice, and I couldn't find anything. So I said, well, this is my opportunity to
There you
to try to create an interest group. It's Monolith Home Theater Enthusiasts. See if we can get people who have question about it and create a community. And and
Nice.
and I start getting text messages on Messenger from people asking me, okay, so how do you run direct?
Right.
How set up the subwoofer so that and initially I was trying to answer everyone's question,
Mhm.
and then eventually it's just become too much. So
Yeah.
now I defer to the Facebook page, because a
Mhm.
lot of time those questions has been answered by somebody on the Facebook
Yeah.
page already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So we definitely appreciate you, Michael, and inspiring us to help other people
Good,
also.
man. It's what it is. I mean, that's the thing. It's like there's so much. I believe everybody has knowledge, everybody has experience, and what better thing to do than take that knowledge and those years of experience with whatever hobby or whatever niche and share that with the world. If you know how to build computers, teach somebody else how to build computers. Because guess what? One day, all 5 of us are going to die. One out. I
Right.
mean, there's a statistic. I mean, it's statistically proven that 1 out of 1 people die
Yep.
every single time.
Yeah.
Unless Jesus comes back and we don't die. What I mean, it's like we're going to die. So before I die, I want to make an impact on people. I want to help people. I want to serve people. I want to love people. I want to be a resource to people, because when I die, I want somebody to look back and go, I'm a better person. I'm a better father. I'm a better student. I'm a better whatever. I'm a better friend because of my relationship with Michael, and what he's poured into me. And so that's just what I try to do. And then again, I'm not even remotely close to being perfect, but I just try to do my best.
Yeah, I always say, live your life well so the pastor doesn't have to lie at your funeral.
That is so true.
That's a
Trust me, I mean, as a
that's a
pastor
quote that
myself,
guides me.
I marry and bury. So sometimes you're like, all right, what do I need to, how do I make this sound nice and good? Because not everybody is
Yeah,
good and wholesome.
you always got to spin, some of those negative comments that you get on I had somebody tell me one time on one of my videos, create another video pointing to ports,
Yeah.
I'm like, so it's like, how do I spin this? Thank you for your comment.
Yeah.
I appreciate the constructive criticism. It's all, you got to be nice with stuff. Nice, give niceties back.
It just depends on
Paul,
the person.
you're on mute,
Not
Paul.
I wish I was half as nice as either one of you, because I'm just straight
I was
to
like,
the.
I can't have a channel. I would offend everybody.
I would be like, No, you got that wrong. Oh, you watched another video about pointing to a port. This is my only one. I've never seen, I would just be like, what are you? You're the one that's watching all the
Like,
videos
you're the
pointing
idiot,
out
man.
ports,
Yeah.
not me. I've only made one video. What are you talking about?
Yeah, John Anthony is the smart one here because he when he started his YouTube channel, he never turned the comments on, so he didn't.
No,
He just didn't allow the comments to come on.
yeah. There's pros and cons of that,
Yeah, absolutely.
But
And
if
I
you're
feel
gonna,
like yeah, so yeah, I feel like the amount of camaraderie in our community, it's we sometimes have to block out some of the negativity because that negativity is only 5% of the people in our community.
probably less.
Since probably less than that, since I
Mhm.
become part of this community and become a bigger role in this community after I met Don, is that I feel like a lot of people are very willing to help you when you ask for help because I met a guy on Facebook, and at that time I was trying to set up my Synology NAS when I first got the Zabidi player. I had no idea how to set up a NAS at all, and the Zabidi, it's not easy to make it play with a NAS. So I reached out to a guy. He spent 2 hours with me on a Zoom call, and helped me set it up step by step. And I was so dumbfounded. I asked him, can I pay you anything? Is there anything I can do? He's like, no, I'm just paying forward. And
Yeah.
at some point, you're gonna have a chance to help someone else. And I sure did. I had a chance to help many people with setting up the subwoofer, troubleshooting the HTTP1, room treatment, and also sometime REW and direct. So yeah, I think it's all about paying forward
Yeah.
in this
I've always
hobby.
tried to I've always tried to teach my kids you can never go wrong with being generous. And that's whether it's your money, whether it's your time, whether it's your attention, whether it's your
Yeah.
knowledge. I think it's a good thing. So, but
I don't know if any of you ever owned a boat before, but exactly, John Anthony, what you just said, it's a boater's rule that if you see somebody broken down, you have to
Mhm.
stop.
yeah,
You have to stop and you have to help them no matter what you're doing. And it will come back to you because look, we all know what boat
you're gonna
stands
have
for,
the
right?
boat. You're gonna have a boat that broke down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Eventually,
So, I mean,
you ride one long
it-
enough, own one long enough.
Mhm.
so, Michael, I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot here or not, but
Whatever.
are you able to share with everyone, kind of like Paul did on your phone, your
think so.
your studio set up there, and possibly
So-
give us a tour of your home theater?
Oh, I didn't see your text. I had it on mute. I've learned to do that on my podcast. Somebody was like, "Turn your phone on mute, bro," because it's over dinging and all
Yeah,
kinds of noise.
yeah, it's no problem.
You can just join with the invite link.
All right. So the first thing I need to do. All right. Let me think.
You need
Where did you
Chrome.
send me the link?
Send
Was
it
that
to your
Was that an
wherever-
email or was that on Facebook Messenger?
email? I can send it to you.
Okay,
by
cool.
text
That'd be good.
also. It's email.
Either way, yeah, that's fine.
So while these guys are getting this set up, I'll go back to Cedia. I'd like to talk about some of these new TVs that they got
What,
coming out.
CES?
I'm trying to figure out what the use case for this one actually is. While you guys are setting that up, Ike, if you wouldn't mind sharing that.
He's like, wait, man, I'm having a multitask. Let me get this email out.
Which one are you talking about?
So
is
this is the transparent LG TV that they came out with. It's a transparent OLED.
Interesting.
I love that idea. I actually love that idea.
Wow.
Because when it's not on, it's not there. So aesthetically, it disappears. Now, I would have to see any technology like this, if it, while you're using it, doesn't look as good as the standard TV. You know what I'm saying? I don't like it when they come out with technology that then decreases the value of the original item without this new feature. It's like, I don't care if an OLED can get 10,000 nits if it now can no longer have blacks. It's like, oh, what's the
I
point
mean, it
of
definitely
that?
gives it a little bit more depth, right? It looks like it's 3D, so because the walls behind it, it looks like the person's actually standing in your room or singing in your room right here. So I can definitely understand that
Well,
that
this
use
I
case. But
think would be over the fireplace. You don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
You could put a piece of wall art behind it. This is probably the first gen of it. Now, and I don't know what it looks like. I'm not in person, but if it
Right.
looks as good as a standard OLED, let's just say, the first gen OLED, let's say, then that is acceptance factor aesthetically 1,000 times over. That means you could have speakers in wall, television flat against the wall, and an image behind that, maybe a fancy piece of art or family photo, and it looked like a museum. And then it's like, oh, well, actually, this is also my home theater. Boop, and you turn it on, and all of a sudden, what you thought. And some of those drop down. I don't know if that one was where they drop it drops down a black screen behind it to give you that true blacks. So that might have been the screen without the backdrop on it, so you can still see through it.
All I'm gonna say
Yeah.
is, if you have young kids, this is not for you. Because somebody's gonna throw something or run right through your transparent OLED.
Not even
Or
see
just
it. Like,
fingerprint-
I didn't even see
or just
it. Like,
fingerprint the heck out
Or
of it,
just-
right?
Man.
well, they wouldn't
I can
even know it was
imagine all the
there.
things
You
my
don't,
kids would do.
You don't tell them it's there, and they'll never see it. Isn't that the point?
And they walk right through it. And then you would have to decide if you want to cry or spank somebody. But yeah, man, it's like,
Again, I think this is more for the, you put it over the fireplace, because a lot of places, have that type of situation where, hey, I want a TV in this room, but the only place I can place it is here, but it looks ugly, over your
Yeah.
did
It
you
really
just
Yeah, I
stop
was trying.
sharing?
I mean, it definitely gives I guess a deeper field of view, because you're kind of like seeing through it all,
Oh.
in your home, or whatever it may be, So just curious on those. I mean, that was something that came out. I'm sure others will have much better concept than I do on how they would be used. It looks like we had Michael ready to give us a little tour of his studio there.
I am
Yeah.
trying to get it.
You got to flip it.
All
the
right,
other
Paul,
way,
how did you
right?
switch it around?
You have to, when you join, you have to select. I'm just going to call
There's a
it
gear
out.
that says
This-
front
this-
facing and back
Nope,
facing on
nope.
the camera.
When you
I'm about to
first
mute you, Paul.
join,
Oh, here we
when
go.
you
I got
first
it.
join, it will reconnect you. So when you select, it'll dump you, then it reconnects. You have to select when you first come in. There's no switching on this one.
Actually, there is,
Yeah.
Paul.
It must be new.
Well,
Let me know. Let me know if you get booted out or not.
Yeah, so there was a cog wheel on the left, bottom left, and
Right.
you select that, and then it says,
Yeah.
which camera do you want?
And then when you
so
select
I-
it, it usually boots you out, and then you reconnect.
I don't guess so, because I can use my ultra wide camera.
You can select them all, but then once you select done,
Yeah, select done. It might kick you out and rejoin.
yeah.
Oh, you're not seeing this.
Yeah,
live
we're
right
not
now.
even
Yeah, we're
seeing
not
you
seeing
yet.
you yet.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought
I was gonna say, yeah, sure, you can select it, but bye bye.
Yeah, technical difficulties.
All right,
Technical
it'll probably
difficulties with this
disconnect.
program. Let's see.
Yeah, that's fine. It's technology.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah,
get
but-
us cynical people to test it first, because I'll be like, does it do these basic things?
Yeah, no, this what is this that we're using? Ecamm?
Yeah.
Ecamm?
Ecam Live. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
it's
like,
something in the process.
and maybe if I was in the driver's seat, it may be different, because you know me, I'm like, I got to figure out every button. So, maybe it has more features and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I
we're
think
just
we
not
we
experienced.
should have Michael back. Let me confirm. Yep. Um, I think you're on mute, Michael. Okay,
There we go.
you're no longer. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, we're good.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So this is just the YouTube studio. Should I use a wider lens?
I think it's
You're
fine.
good. You're good.
Yeah, it
Okay.
looks all right.
All right.
It looks good.
So this is just the home studio. So I'll show you. My kids
I
got
like
this
that.
for me.
Oh,
Yeah, my
I
kids
was
got.
wondering. I was like, that's new. I don't remember that. That's pretty cool looking.
Yeah, so it's got, a little generic little whatever, so you can change colors, and it's been acting up
That's pretty cool.
lately for some reason. I think it just died on me. There we
You
go.
might need a new battery in that remote.
Maybe that's all it is, but it starts changing on me. Like earlier when we were starting the stream, I noticed it in my rear view kind of peripheral. It was changing, cycling through. But it's got a couple presets, nothing fancy there. So just some
That's
birthday
really cool.
cards, some of my books. This is probably my favorite headset right now. It's the Phaeton Legacy 900. So I use those a lot on my trips. We talked about going to CEDIA and different things. So that's really great. They're wireless, they're Bluetooth, and they're also noise canceling. So that's great for, travel. And they're really small and fold up. My son got me this little thing. It's kind of cool. Just a little knick-knack, little speaker clock.
That's cool.
That's
It's a little knick-knacks. I just leave that there. Oh gosh, what is this? Oh, this is GoPro. So there's my GoPro in there. Don't even know what model it is. I think it's like, well, that just fell.
There was something.
Yeah.
Hopefully it
that was
wasn't
that-
another
that was
one
the-
of your L lenses,
Yeah,
flopping
don't
around
drop
out
that
there.
lens.
It was the thing I just showed you from my son.
Oh,
So yeah, so this is my 70 to 200 millimeter 2.8 lens for my Canon. So I bought that lens mainly for my daughter's, like she's at cheer, like tonight, right before the show, I was at a cheer competition. So that's what I bought that for. And these are some Hi-Fi Man Sandara headphones. That's my old Rode Video Mic Go 2. So I bought a little pouch for it on eBay, or on not eBay, but Amazon. So here's one: work hard and dream big. So it's just kind of like some motivational stuff. The YouTube plaque for 100,000 subscribers, and then this was cool, man. So I'm a grandfather, so our grandson is 1 year old. So this says Papa, like a grandpa, but cooler, source of advice and stories, fixer of all things. I can't fix crap, and the best person in the world. So try to be a good granddad.
you got 3 out of the 4, so you're doing pretty
Yeah,
good.
exactly.
I would have like 1 of those.
Yeah. So this
I don't
was
know. I
just
saw
kind
a
of
Facebook post of you asking neighbors for drills and all kind of stuff. So I think.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah. I don't own none of that stuff. So that's just another little knick-knack. Holds all my pins and stuff. So it's just a scripture verse from Matthew 5:14. You're the light of the world, so shine. Again, just part of my faith. This is a tripod, kind of it's a tripod, but it's also like a
like a
what do you call that?
boomstick or something like that.
Yeah, kind of like a handheld, so you could vlog with it. So this was given to me at Vid Summit. So I attended that a couple years ago. So that was one of the gifts, but you just kind of pop it out. It's a little tripod, and it's magnetic. So when you swing it back in, they all stay together. So that's there. My Mini DSP, UMIC 1 or UMIC 2. I've got the UMIC 1 as well. Normally my gimbal stays over here, but that's what I'm using right now. It's just a picture of my family. My youngest daughter, Rebecca, she's now 17. Jacob is 24. Naomi Grace, no, oh my gosh, I can't even see. Yeah, Naomi Grace, she is, what is she now? She is 20. Rachel is 22. like I said, Jacob is 24, and of course I'm 48. And then I've got, just some old stuff down here. This is like an old Bible that my dad gave me.
Oh, wow.
It just kind of was in the family, so
I
it's
was gonna say,
like
what
vintage.
edition is that? But the binder's off of it.
Yeah, it's been pretty. It's one of those been rode hard, put up wet kind of things.
Yeah.
I was trying to see if I could find out what year it was made, but it's pretty old. Let's see if I can get that up in one hand. Does it say? I don't know, but it's pretty old. But it was in our family, so I keep it in there. And that's just a little plaque. It says, "God doesn't call the qualified; He qualifies the called." And then those are just some of my Bibles from over the years. Study Bibles at college. New printer that a friend of mine actually gave to me. He moved to Alaska. He's like, "Hey, dude, we can't ship this. You want it?" And I went, "Sure." So
It might not work there. It's so cold.
Yeah, for real.
You got to use toner. You can't use ink in the Alaska. No, just kidding.
Yeah, no inkjet.
Amazing.
So I did a video on this. This is kind of my normal setup for. I wanted something easy to be able to live stream. So I shared with you. I literally just pulled in 15 minutes before the show, and I walk in here, turn on that camera, turn on that light with one switch, turn on this light, and I'm good to go. So everything is already set up. So I wanted something that was easy, because before I would have to pull out my camera. So that was my old camera. That's a Canon M6 Mark II. So when I upgraded from Nikon, got that camera, got a lens, and so now that's what I use for live streaming. The bad thing is it's up high, so it's always looking down at my seat. So
Right.
I would love to be able to be eye level, so I'm actually looking at the camera during the live stream, but it is what it is. That's 32-inch monitor, the Clips McLaren 5s, and then my MacBook 13-inch that I used to travel with.
You have the card.
Nothing fancy.
Those speakers, right?
Yeah, I do. Actually, that's what I was going to say. So I legit, a friend of mine came over the other day and brought his McLaren.
Oh, nice.
Like straight up.
Yeah,
It's
those are
rad,
some
dude.
pretty.
It's about a 200. What do you say? I think it's about a $240,000 car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the intake sound on those, oh man, they're howling.
Phenomenal.
Did you drive
this
it?
thing's phenomenal, dude.
Did you drive it?
I mean, I didn't drive it, but I rode it.
I'm
He
not
don't trust me to
driving.
drive it, dude. I'm just glad to be to drive it. Oh my gosh, man! But it's phenomenal. You mentioned something about McLaren earlier or something like that. I'm like, I had a chance to ride in one, but yeah. So custom built PC. So that's one I built a couple years ago. About every 5 years, I build a new PC. But it's strictly for game. I'm not gaming. Strictly for editing. So nothing super fancy. I couldn't even tell you all the specs. Every year, every time I build one, I have to like do research and figure out what the latest, greatest kind of stuff is. And I don't buy the latest, greatest because it's usually way, way expensive. But I think that's probably about $2,500 total for the build. Standing desk here, so I can just hit a little preset there. Only thing I got to do is move this out of the way because it'll hit the speaker. So I've just got 2 presets. So when I'm standing, the desk comes up. But I don't have any lights in here. I don't know why when they built this house, there's literally nothing up here. So the only lights in this room every day that I work with is that one and that one. That's it. This one I bring in just to kind of light up this back here because it just gets pitch black.
What kind of light is that? The round light that you have, is that
So-
something special? That
No, nothing special. It's just kind of, to me, expensive. It's a Govee. Speaking of Govee, there's a little dinky light. I thought, since I don't have any lights up here, that light was going to be an accent light, but also light up my room a little bit with some reflection. Nope.
Nope.
You can see the light extends to about here.
Yeah, those are
there.
corner accent lights. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it may come up here, so it was $100 or $130 or whatever I bought it. I'm like, that was a waste, but
Yeah,
it's cool.
I have one right behind me. You can see like
I
a
have
little
I have
blue
tubes
fade.
also that I thought
You
was going to light
you
up the
can
whole
barely
back
see
wall
it,
that
but
didn't.
Yeah.
Now, on
I
that
mean,
Govee one that you just showed, does it have
yep.
multiple segments,
yep.
or is it
Yes,
just
it
one
does.
solid
Yep.
light?
No,
Okay.
it does have
See,
multiple
so
segments.
I see some purpose for that. Yeah, since it has
Yeah.
multiple segments,
Well,
you
here's
can
the thing.
really
It's
do some cool
cool
stuff
for
with
what
that.
it is, which is an accent light. I was just
Mhm.
hoping it would actually
It was
illuminate
asking
my
for more.
room,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Nope.
and it did not do that. So that's
Yeah.
the reason why I say it's purpose. It's like useful, not useful in my setup. But yeah. So
Hey,
all
Govey,
right. So
send
let's.
Michael some lights, Govey.
What?
So I had
Send me
talked to
one too.
Govey, so it's gonna be pitch black for a little while. So I talked to Govey to send me one, and they're one of the most difficult companies to work with. Like their communication's terrible. So here's
So
theater
is their
room.
UI. I mean, no, Govee lights
Yeah,
are awesome. I like my lights. For what I paid for
sure.
them, they're
For
amazing.
exactly for what
You
it
know.
is, they're not super high end. But they're
To
okay.
get what I have in Philips Hue, I think I have a total of maybe $600.
Yeah,
I think I calculated out like $5,000 to get the same light
yeah,
effects.
for
The
sure.
same effects. Sure, I
Oh,
might have a little
nice.
bit more resolution, but oh yeah, look at that.
Ooh, I love those, man.
So
They look fake right now. That looks like
yeah,
some sort of picture in the background.
yeah. So
The
I'll
way it
turn off
looks.
the rear lights. So if y'all have these devices, excuse me, Alexa, rear lights off. All right, so this is just the screen that's 150-inch diagonal. So this is backlit with Govee lights. Over to the far right, yeah, we're talking Govee. So
Govey's
just to
not a
show you that
channel
this,
sponsor.
yeah, exactly. They should
We know
be,
the
but they're
sponsor of the
not.
video, right?
They should be, but they're not. So they have. Oh, let me back up. So I'll show you one other thing. So Paul, I have something similar to yours, but mine goes around the screen. But mine's only blue. Alexa, screen lights on. So I just have
Oh,
one
nice.
blue light.
Yep.
And what this does is kind of highlight the texture that's in here.
Yes.
So this is all wood, hand carved wood, little what I call diamond pattern. But it's just one color. So eventually, oh no, wait, no, I did not replace that one. I was trying to think if I replaced the one on the out. Man, now I can't even remember if I did. I don't think I did. Anyway, I don't even know. It's been so long. Alexa, screen light orange. Let's see. If it does, then I know.
Screen lights doesn't support that.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So yeah, this was the original LED light that I put a long time ago. Alexa, screen lights off. So I can do different, like I can say 5%, 10%, that sort of thing. But so this is 150-inch screen, acoustically transparent, and I really wanted to have this ability. I wanted that IMAX kind of feel that, I could have it set up to where it's real dim lit when somebody walks in and they go, holy crap. Or I could shut off lights and then kind of reveal is what I call the reveal lighting. So down here, I'm just going to reach under and grab a little latch, and then I can lift up the screen, and then you can see it's the real deal. So there's no projector on, but that's the JTR Noesis 212 HDRs for my right, my center, and my left. For subwoofers, the Captivator, JTR Captivator RS2s. So this is an 18-inch driver. So there's two of those and about a 220-pound cabinet. 4,000 watt continuous amplifier going to them. And then there's some GIK panels back here. One day I want to kind of fill in this cabinet back here. As you can see, it's just hollow in there. So
Right.
it's pretty echoey. And then I've got a work light that if I squat down, open up my cabinet, you can see I can turn on that light and off. And so that way, if I don't have these lights on, I can still at least see in there.
Right.
Man, that center channel just looks lonely out there, man.
So this is what it looks like.
You need to get a couple more subs to fill in the gap there, man.
Yeah,
look,
he's like
sat in the chair. He don't need any more.
Yeah, it's pretty well. Alexa, theater lights on. So you guys have seen my room. Like I said, that's the 150-inch screen from Seymour Center Stage XD. And I've just got it on. Oh, I guess I could show this for maybe those that haven't seen it. These are just supported with gas shocks. Nothing fancy, super inexpensive. No, I call them shocks. I guess they're technically struts. This is kind of interesting. So this piece of metal here, I did not build this, but my friend did. So he had been looking online, or not online. He'd been looking around local stores, trying to find out what can we do to build this. And he found a place that was called Unclaimed Baggage. We always called it Unclaimed Garbage because there was a lot of garbage there, but sometimes you can find some cool stuff. And Unclaimed Baggage was just what it sounds like. I'm sorry. There was two places. There was Unclaimed Baggage and there was Mike's Merchandise. And I think this was at Mike's Merchandise. So they just have all kinds of random stuff. You go in there and you never know what you're going to find. But he found 3 pieces of this extruded aluminum right here. And on the other side of it, it has a groove in it. And he's like, it's strong, it's lightweight, it's long enough, and it's got that groove that we could use to install this screen, similar to like a screen in porch, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this is what I want to show you. This is cool. This is talking about cheap Youthman deal. What does that say?
$12.
So $12 for each one of these. So I spent $36 on the frame of this screen. This is custom welded here. So that is the latch that comes down to here below the screen. Let me see if I can do it this way. Yeah, there we go. So that literally is a car latch, like on the hood of your car.
Right.
So that U-bolt up there slides in here and it locks into place. So I reach my hand under here, grab this piece of wire, and just pull it. And when I pull the wire, you can see the mechanics just unlocks. Okay. So that's how I get into my screen. And then this is going to be a little bit difficult, but I'll show you the components in a second. So
that's
let's
why
do
Michael
this.
never drives his McLaren because he stole the latch off of it.
The hood will fly over.
Sure.
Exactly. He's like, well, I gotta take it out of the theater.
So this cabinet was custom made. Crazy carpentry on this thing. I couldn't have ever done it myself.
That's what I admire the most out of your entire theater.
Yeah,
that woodwork is amazing. I love that.
Like, that's hand carved. So that up there is kind of hard to see, but those little medallions, those are hand carved. And it's just crazy the level of detail. This was probably, I think there's about 96 pieces in this column.
It's crazy.
Wow.
So what's wild is this is kind of like what you were talking about, Paul. This is individual pieces. Think of like furring strips.
Yep.
So there's probably 40, I don't know, maybe not 40. Maybe there's 10 or 15. So there's like a piece of wood here, piece of wood here, piece of wood here, piece of wood here. It goes all the way around in a circle. They made a lathe because it didn't have one. He made a lathe, built a lathe out of lawnmower parts, pulleys, and a corded drill. I've got a video of it. It's crazy. Made this, sanded it, but again, this right here, this is not a round piece. This is not a round piece. That's not a round piece. These are square pieces of wood that were eventually sanded to make round.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. The bull nose here, that was all, made. You didn't buy that from Lowe's. So I guess we'll start, I don't know, left to right. Make it easy real quick. So we'll try to, I won't bore you with this. So all the lighting's in here, Lutron. So each one of these is a dimmer. So one controls the, let's see, probably the easiest way. Let me step back here. So one controls these 4 lights here. One controls 2 lights back here. So I call that front lights. So I can tell her to turn off front lights and it'll turn off those front lights or turn them on or set them to a certain percentage. Second dimmer is these back lights, the 2 back here. So that's above the rear seating. So that's zone 2. Zone 3 would be, I think it's the arch lights. So there's 3 arch lights under here. One there, one there, one there. Another zone would be, the other zone would be the light that you were seeing earlier. So that goes all the way around the perimeter of the screen. And then the 5th zone is what I call the reveal lighting, which would be back behind that screen. So that's all Lutron Caseta. It's an older format, but it works for me. So down here we have the new Arvolution player. That's the player 1. I did a review on that. So you can put a hard drive in here. I have external is the word I'm thinking of. I have an external hard drive back there connected to this with all my media. This is just some of my cables. So custom. This is kind of interesting. So told you this whole piece of wood is custom. So I don't know if you guys are woodworkers, but do y'all know what that is?
Dovetail.
Yep.
Yeah, hand carved dovetails.
Wow.
So this is legit carpentry.
This
man.
cabinet would cost you probably 20 grand to make these days.
Yeah. Yeah, my brother-in-law, he's into woodworking, and he said, Michael, he said the same thing. He's like, it could be $20,000 to $40,000 for this entire cabinet, which is crazy.
If you ever get a new house, you're gonna have to like literally uproot all that and take it. I'm not saying
no, you can't because it's custom for this.
Custom built.
Yeah.
It would never
It's
look
custom
the
for
same
this.
unless you had the carpenter that built that originally, and even then,
it would be almost
look,
impossible.
Yeah, it'll never look as amazing as it does right now in that file.
And it's hard to it's hard to see with
you
this.
build a new room around it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It would probably be cheaper. Okay, there you go. Now we're talking. Now we're thinking outside the box. It's like, yep, you got to go build a room around your carpentry.
This is my specific dimensions of my room. You can't go an inch more or an inch less.
So it's probably okay. That's a little bit better. The other way was showing like this color was way out of whack, but you can see it's now more. Man, it's weird. It's really more red.
Like cherry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And that's what I wanted. I wanted a cherry stained. This is red oak, stained in a cherry wood finish. But when I turn this way, the color balance is like,
it
what
goes
is that?
brown.
Turns a little funky. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like
But
80s brown. Whenever
it's definitely not that. Yeah, it's really pretty. But I wanted to show you. So, each one of these, like that's a piece of wood. That's a piece of wood. That's a piece of wood. But look at this. Like that right there is a piece of wood. This little corner just to make some decorative. All of these, I don't know what you would call that. The edges, it's basically routed.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like there's I think I had to buy like tons of those. They're called biscuits to hold these pieces together. Paul knows about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So all these things are held together with biscuits. I had to learn what biscuits
they don't hold together from a 5-foot drop. I'm just saying.
No, they don't. But, so in here's all the OSD. So I did a review on that. That controls all my outdoor equipment. So we've got a streamer and then 3 amplifiers for different zones out there. I think this is the subwoofer amp. Yeah, that's 1,000 watt amplifier. And then this one powers several zones out there. And then this one, I think this is the main one for the 4 speakers out there. So I did a video on that. This here, Pioneer Elite. I don't need to turn it on, but Pioneer Elite, this is the 4K player. They don't make this anymore. This was the UDP LX500. Down below that is a AC Infinity cooling fan, just to help keep this cool. I don't know if it really needs it, but figured I had it. I might as well put it on it. But that's the 11X amplifier. So that is 200 watts by 3. So that control or powers my front, left, center, and right speaker. And then there's 8 channels at 100 watts. So that is my 4 surrounds and my 4 Atmos, which I'll show you in just a little bit.
I tell you, that amp is a beast, man. I mean,
it's huge. It's 110 pounds.
Yeah, on my drive up there, I was wondering, you know, how, you know, because I was very new, very green to this, and I was wondering how you know, you were going to power all your speakers off of that one amp, and like, I mean, it was just, it was phenomenal, to be honest with you. You know, it had more, like I said, my ears were given out before that amp was given out. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you've got, especially, I mean, all my speakers have been efficient, so they don't take a lot of power anyway. So I've just got a lot of headroom from that amp, but it's 110 pounds, 11 channels. But the biggest reason why I wanted one amplifier like that, yes, I could have done 200 watts to every speaker, but to be able to do that, I'd have to have 2 or 3 amplifiers. And as you're going to see, this thing is completely full, you know, all the way over there. We've got Arvolution here. We've got outdoor equipment here, amplifier, you know, 4K player. Yeah. Next, I mean, every one of these slots are full. So Panamax, it's an old school 5500 Panamax conditioner, surge protector, that kind of thing. Down there is my trusty Marantz AV7706. People are like, Youthman, you really need to upgrade to Trinov. And I'm like, hey, my Venmo is at Youthman. So if you want to support the cause, fine. But
yeah,
this thing does everything I want it to, man. It's a solid. One thing I love about Marantz and Denon is the ones that I have owned are just, they're rock solid. I mean, when I turn it on, it does what I need it to do. I don't have any hiccups. I don't have any bugs. It just works. And that's what I love.
The only thing that I remember from hearing bugs with the Marantzes or the Denons was just that the direct didn't work right away. You had to get that separate module. But other than that, like you said, they just perform. You turn them on and they work, right? So
now, you know, when you say different mod, now the Emotiva you had to buy or not buy. They would send you a separate module that had some software in it, but I don't think the Marantz did they? Oh wait, no, I think you're right.
When they Odyssey first app that you could buy to customize it, otherwise it just did the flat thing that everybody didn't like. So that was the only thing that people.
Okay, I think I vaguely remember that.
And that's kind of like, there's ways around that. But
yeah,
those things are nice processors. They really are. Marantz is a good name.
So in here, got the Kaleidoscape.
Oh, you know what it was? I made a mistake. You're correct. It was the 2.1 is what it was.
It was the,
you're
that's
correct.
HDMI 2.1 model.
That's right. I do remember that now.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about on that too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the HDMI that didn't.
That was
quite work.
That was That was a chip problem. Wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Michael with the Kaleidoscape in there now. When did that addition happen?
A little bit ago.
Thank God I'm not going to get any more calls about NVIDIA Shield and Plex.
Yeah, exactly. No more trouble.
I'm like,
this thing just
dude,
works,
really? Man. Come on. Like, no, don't hit that button. You'll delete everything.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I almost did. I was so mad. I'm like, Paul, I think I just formatted my hard drive. He's like, dude, you can't do that from within Plex. I'm like, Paul, I think I did. He's like, no, it won't let you. And I went, okay, good, because I'm freaking out about now.
Hey, Paul, you need to write a Plex for Dummies, man. Something like that.
Yeah,
For real.
man. Yeah.
As I told all you guys, Paul is our IT guy. That's the
Yeah.
Paul. I need you to help. I need you to help Fred with his bass control. Paul, I need you to help Chuck with. Paul, I need you to help
Paul could
Ike with
sell
tuning his speakers.
Hey, it's a
So
small
Paul,
community,
when
man.
you
We
get
help
ready
each
for
other.
retirement, Paul, just write some courses on Plex and you'll be good to go. Set for life, man.
There you go.
So
There you go.
Strato C, 44 terabyte.
Oh
you
man,
got the big boy.
wow,
Yeah,
big dog.
Michael.
Yeah,
Jeez.
that's a big one. Yeah, so that'll hold a ton of movies. I've been having a blast with Kaleidoscape. Dude, every time they got a sale, I'm like, crap, I just bought another one. So I'm always buying movies. So I'm just trying to build my collection on that. Matt
Have you
VR,
done any of the disc to digital yet with that?
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. So I don't have a huge collection. I'll show you that next. But yeah, basically with this, you can take a external hard drive that I bought. External Blu-ray player, plug it into the back of the Strato C, insert a disc that you own, and it says, okay, cool, you own that. And then they give you a discount on that movie. So instead of paying full price for Top Gun Maverick, I may pay $10. I've been able to buy movies as low as $3. So that was super helpful. Down below that's MadVR Extreme. The MadVR Extreme processor is huge for my setup because I've got the 2.35 screen. So I can fill that screen all the time with any media, even in a movie scene like Interstellar that switches scenes. Maverick or switches aspect ratios. Maverick does.
Envy and an Extreme, is those the...
So Envy is so Envy or MadVR is the company. Envy is the product, and then there's an Envy Pro and an Envy Extreme. The Envy Pro is basically, it is what it is. It's kind of like buying a laptop. You really can't upgrade it. So if you think that that's all you'll ever need, buy the Pro. If you want the ability to upgrade, graphics processors, things like that in the future, when they have those options, you can send this back to them. They can upgrade it, send it back to you. So that is the MadVR Envy Extreme.
We joked about on previous shows about a drinking game for mentioning the K word, the Kaleidoscape, but I actually reached out to Adam Gold, the representative for my area, and he's going to come on the show. We're gonna get him scheduled up so that we can talk about legitimately
Paul,
talk about the Kaleidoscape.
Paul, we're gonna have to go to the liquor store before that show, Paul.
Hey, I drink the whole time, so I'm in the clear. I don't know what you guys, do.
That's funny.
So,
So PlayStation 5, pardon the little flicker back there. One of the lights probably needs to be replaced. PlayStation 5, I do a lot of gaming in here, and I love having 120 refresh rate now. I'll show you the projector I've got. There's a Orbi router back there, so that's hardwired, and then that provides wireless to the theater room, and then PS4 or PS5 controller on a little charger. There's the charger for the Logitech Harmony, and then I use little Echo Dot up here to do all the voice commands. And then this is really my collection. I mean, that's it. I don't have a whole lot. I was really spoiled when my son lived here because he would buy every movie. And so there's no reason for him to buy Spider-Man 2 and for Dad to buy Spider-Man 2. I just let him buy it and then I'd go borrow it. So then when he got married, I'm like, oh, crap, now I got to start buying discs. So I'm starting my small collection. And so what Don was referring to is you can take this, put it in a 4K or put it in a Blu-ray player. You have to use the Blu-ray version of it, and then that will give you the license to be able to buy the Kaleidoscape version at a pretty reduced price. So some video games, some old school DVDs, Blu-rays, some music stuff, concert DVDs and stuff, and then just a handful of movies.
Hey, just buy
And then
your
the last,
son just get your son a bunch of stamps from the post
yeah,
office.
for sure.
Yeah.
The
And
idea,
then
So
just
the
Michael,
save
is
idea
it.
that
behind,
I'm sorry, is the for the K word that we're not supposed to say, is
yeah.
that the new Prime? Is that the new Prime server, or is that one of the older servers prior to the
No,
Prime?
it's definitely an older one. It's not the new, like the solid state ones, the super fast ones.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, they have a
This,
Prime server, and then they have the solid state also. Once you get to you,
yeah,
because the compact is actually, I think, is up to 22 terabytes. But since you got the other one, you got the full size. You got the full
yeah, and this
size.
is, yeah, it's some of their older hardware. So,
Okay,
this here, the
still
thought
works.
here was, yeah, exactly. The thought here was going to be like, this is where I'll put remotes. But once I got theater seating, that never gets used because I put the remotes in there. We got acoustic panels around the room, GIK. That is a double sliding glass door with the Velamax blackout. So I'll pull this back.
That's the
You
stuff
can't
that
see out.
John Anthony
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah, so you can see my little sliding glass door there. So this is just held on by static clean, like static, I don't know what you call that, but
Water and soap.
yeah,
It's
literally
like
you
a
spray
tint.
water
Yeah.
on it. Literally, there's no chemical. You spray water and you put it on there flat and you squeegee it, and that is it. That's how it sticks with static clean. So Valencia theater seats. So we got the Tuscany Ultimate Luxury in the back row, Tuscany Ultimate Luxury. I'm sorry, Oslo Ultimate Luxury. Acoustic panels. There's four JTR, Noesis, 110. Let me see if I can get the model number right. 110 HTSL. SL stands for slant. You see these are angled about, I guess, 45-degree angle.
Mm-hmm.
So the great thing about these is they're angled right down to my listening position. So I got two side surrounds, two back surrounds, not ideally placed, but that's where my rear surrounds have always been placed. It is what it is. It's not a perfect room. Problem is I got this big door right here. So to have the big door there,
Right.
there's really nowhere to put a surround. So I had to go above and then just match it over there. Upgraded from 103-inch non-acoustic transparent screen to this 150-inch transparent screen. That's a big shift. And so used to, the projector was kind of about probably right there in the room for 103. That was an Epson 5040 UB. So when I upgraded to the JVC NX7, we had to cut a hole in the wall and we mounted it inside there. So that gave me about a 16-foot throw distance. And then, I don't know, 6 months ago, no, longer than that, upgraded to the NZ8 4K projector. Oh, what else? I think I've covered everything. I got GIK on the ceiling, some panels there. The 4 Atmos speakers. So the same identical as my surrounds. So I've got 4 of the same thing, 110 HT SLs there. And there's another 2 back here, one there, and they're aimed right here. Back seat isn't ideal. I mean, none of your surrounds are really, they're blowing over this, rear row. Atmos is blowing over them, so they kind of get shafted back there, honestly. But again, this is my room. It's only 19 feet deep. That cabinet is 4 feet deep. So effectively, my room that I had to work with is like 15 feet right there.
Right.
I got
And
15
you're
feet.
sitting around 9 feet away from the screen, right?
That is correct. So when this is reclined, my eyeballs are 9 feet from a 150-inch screen. I
That's
did his
immersive.
research, man. Yeah. Oh, and talking about signs. So my kids got this for me for one Christmas. Thought that was pretty slick.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's just a little metal sign. Got it on Etsy. So Etsy's really cool.
Yeah.
This cable, so that's from Rui Pro. So that's just temporary. I didn't want to run through the attic till I made sure it actually works. And so now
Yeah,
I've
I
been
was going
using
to
a
ask
lot.
you because I remember you had a
No
cable in there
faith. No
before,
faith.
and then you talked
Yeah.
about how it wasn't as difficult to pull through
Yes.
as
So my concern is I've got to pull 2 of these
okay.
because, and here's the reason. I have one for, all right, let me think this through. All right, so
I already know
MWAVE
your
Envy.
answer because I'm doing the same thing. You got one for 2.1 from the PlayStation and one for from the Marantz because it's not 2.1.
That is correct. So
I
MadVR
got to do
Envy
the
is
same
terrible
thing.
for, yeah, you can't do, it just has so much lag for the MadVR Envy. So it's great for processing, but it's not great for like gaming.
Yep.
So I run a separate cable. So when I game on the PlayStation in here, I switch it to input 2 on the JVC, and I've already got one cable run through the ceiling. So that's the old original monoprice cable. So the idea is RuPro sent me 2 of those, so I need to get back in the attic, run both Rui Pros, and then one would be HDMI 1, one would be HDMI 2. But honestly, the monoprice is still working good, so I may leave it and just, I don't know. I just don't think I'm going to be able to pull 2 cables without getting in my attic. So, other than that, honestly,
Do you have, is it a conduit that you have, or is it just in the open?
No, dude. I knew all about conduit, but I was too cheap because I'm a Youthman. Cheap. I need to call my name Cheap Man, but I guess that's already taken with Cheap Audio. I'm definitely cheap. So when I was doing my theater room, I knew every Facebook group said you need to run conduit, make it easier down the road. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I don't want to spend the $100 for PVC piping. Man, I should have. So guys, if you're building it, do it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Because now that cable's been sitting there for what, 6 months? So now I got to climb in the attic sometime. It took me a year to run the last one.
It's cold now,
And
though, so it's a little bit colder now, so you can get in the attic in Florida.
You gotta do it in the winter.
In Texas, we stay away from the attic in the summer.
Yeah.
The problem is feeding it up there, right?
I just ran a couple Cat 5 or Cat 5e for my new Wi-Fi 6. Now that Wi-Fi 7 is coming out, I'm like, okay, I'll upgrade to the Wi-Fi 6 so I can get access to the higher speed for my Wi-Fi devices.
Yeah, I think that's it, man. So
that's a fantastic setup. I mean,
thanks, brother.
Every time I see the pictures, I just I love watching the progress that you've made. Also, because when I came there, you had, like you said, the La Scalas. You had had just gotten the JVC NX7. You just put in the Captivator 2s. And I know he had this pre-planned, but I'm sitting in the chair and I'm listening to the subwoofers, and I'm already getting shaken all around by the subwoofers. And he stands up and he goes, "You know what? I didn't turn on. I think the other subwoofer is off."
I remember that.
I totally had to go under there and turn the switch on for the other.
Oh, so I'll show you this. I haven't really shown this maybe on the channel, but under here is somewhere. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. There's a little light switch. So that is what I call a work light. Oh, I know what I didn't show you. So that work light allows me to see behind there, and I'll show you why that's important. But then there's also down here on this other side, there's 2 switches. So what Don's referring to is above the PlayStation. You see the wiring for it. I can't really get the camera. Okay, there we go.
We got it right there.
Yeah, there's 2 light switches. So it runs to a switched outlet. So I have one of those switches for subwoofer 1 and one switch for subwoofer 2. So when I get the dreaded text from Jessica, can you turn down the bass? I just walk over here and turn those switches off instead of having to go into the Marantz, go into the settings, turn off the settings, the subwoofers, or disable the subwoofers, and then go back. It's just so much easier just to switch. And I'm like, that's genius, man. I wouldn't have thought of that, but my buddy did.
Man, you need to get one of those Lutron switches for it.
Get
that way you can voice command it.
An A-enabled switch. Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can do this. This might be kind of ghetto, but let's see.
Hey, it's the
It
home
won't be
theater
ghetto.
hub.
There we go. All right, cool. So the
Hey,
other thing,
we got high production here, man. You know.
yeah, man, it's legit.
Yeah. We can't have none of this, Youthman video production.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a higher standard than that.
So what this is when I had this cabinet built, I wanted to make sure that I had easy access behind my behind my screen for speakers. 'Cause I knew eventually I'd be upgrading or buying more subwoofers or whatever. So that's where the hinge and the screen is supported. The other thing is I used to have a cabinet, but it was fixed, and you guys may totally relate to this. Let's say I bought a new whatever, a PlayStation 5 for the first time. Well, now I got to feel around back there, looking at the manual either on my phone or the physical manual, going, okay, that HDMI input would be, all right, count them 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah.
Okay, it's right there. You know what I mean? Heaven forbid you hook up 11 speaker wires back there. That was a nightmare. So I knew when we redesigned this, I wanted easy access to my actual equipment, to everything. So with this, it's on, I think it's 300-pound rails each, I believe.
Oh wow.
So it's gotten harder to open over the years. When we first
You
built
got a
this,
lot more equipment now.
yeah, it's a lot heavier. So it's super heavy, but you can see this whole piece slides out. Have to give it some muscle. And it's starting to, the biggest thing is it's dragging the carpet.
Yeah.
So there, now that it's all the way out, then I have easy access behind it. And because of that work light, so I can reach under
I've
here.
seen you yoga your way back there. I wouldn't say it's easy access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's accessible, not necessarily.
Well, what?
easy,
Yeah.
but yo,
And what
that's
makes
not-
it
it's
even
not.
harder? What makes it even harder now is I have a couple cables in the way now recently.
Yep.
So I do have to I go in this way. I step over, put my feet in, go in backwards. It's a pain. I've got some cables in the way.
You
But
put
you
your
can
yoga
imagine-
pants on before
I
working
do.
on the theater. Like,
So sometimes I'm way down there, but I'll crawl from one end to the other running speaker wire. And it's a challenge.
The wife will be looking for you. You're just sleeping back there, hidden.
Well, if the zombie apocalypse is ever real, I got a place to hide.
Yes.
For sure.
Absolutely.
But that's it.
That's a wonderful theater, man. Like I said, I
Appreciate
enjoy watching your growth. When I first came up there, you didn't have the Mad VR, you didn't have the Kaleidoscape.
Yeah.
You were in the JVC NX7.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's just fantastic that you.
Some people look at this and they go, "Oh my gosh, I can never get to that point."
Mm-hmm.
Well, number one, I didn't think I would either. Number two, this is a 17-year process, and I made a video on my channel called Youthman's Journey or something like that. If you search for Youthman Journey, I take you back to the 15-inch, or no, I think it was a 13-inch TV sitting on a plastic tub, like you would put Christmas ornaments in to store it in the attic, and 2 speakers and a receiver that was sitting on the floor and a subwoofer, and a PlayStation 3, I believe. That was it. That's all I owned. And then I bought my rear side surrounds. Later on, found some rear bookshelf speakers. Later on, found some better wide dispersion speakers and upgraded the 2 side surrounds, upgraded the rears. And I just kind of walked through that video just showing the progress over the years. And a lot of it was Youthman deals. It was really, really inexpensive. I told you about the La Scalas, paid $700 for those. So I was just always looking for my first theater seating. I paid $700 for the front, $600 for the rear. One was basically brand new it was the guy's second theater, like second home that had a theater room and they never used it hardly. So it was basically almost brand new, no use, like signs of wear and tear. And then the rear ones were from a model center. So the only traffic it got was for people that would walk in and go, oh, look at this cool theater room. But there's no movie going, so they don't even probably sit down in the chairs. So it still had the plastic around the feet. So that paid $600 for it. So it's things like that. It's like over the years, I had DIY acoustic panels that I paid $11 for each. Doesn't get any cheaper than that.
Right.
You know, I mean, the most expensive thing at that time was a Panasonic AE 3000U. I think I paid $2,500 for it. Sold it for like, gosh, $500 because they depreciate like a rock.
Right.
And then it upgraded to a Panasonic AE 4000U. I think I paid probably about the same, $2,500, maybe $3,000 for it. I don't know, somewhere around there. Panasonic stopped making them, went to Epson, went from the Epson to the NZ or NX7, then to the NZ7. So my room has like just transformed over 17 years. It's been a long process, but my cabinet has evolved. If you look at my old cabinet, it was kind of janky. The cabinet doors were horrendous. They were like tilted at an angle because they were so poorly designed. Seams weren't, I mean, you could see gaps in the wood. It was terrible, but it was what I had and I made the best with it and I enjoyed it. And that's what I encourage everybody is like, start where you're at. Don't worry about your end game, your end goal. Enjoy the journey, build it over time, find those great deals, and sit back and enjoy it with friends and family. So
well said.
it's been
You
all
know,
Yep.
I know I've kind of dived right into it, you know, trying to buy everything and anything that I could
Yeah.
buy and
hard.
then build the theater later, you know. So I've done it in reverse order than you.
Yeah.
But there still be, you know, eventually there'll still be some upgrades that I'll do. And
Oh, 100%.
you know, I you know, it's not going to be the end game theater. You know, I've already got some plans later on down the road. Once I finally enjoy what I have for a little bit, maybe there'll be some upgrades to either probably speakers, you know, maybe I go with some in walls or something like that. So, but look, we really appreciate you joining us,
Yeah,
Michael.
man. It's been fun.
You know, I really appreciate, you know, you coming on the channel and sharing it on your channel and on your Facebook group. Like I said, you know, you're just a breath of fresh air to this community, and anything that I know that if you ever need any help or anything, you know that I'm definitely here for you. And you know, I'm really I was really sad that I missed the first MWAVE, just couldn't make it out there. Definitely got out there. I was excited to get out to the second one. As soon as I got there, I got a big hug from Michael. Came out from behind the table, and you know, just just like I said, you know, just a great all around person, and you know, I really appreciate the time that you spent with us tonight.
Yeah,
Yep.
enjoyed it, man.
I'll be at MWAVE definitely. Might even come down with the family. So
that's cool,
come
man.
out
I'm bringing
there
a couple of Jessica and maybe, well, I think Jessica's definitely coming, but Rebecca might not be because she may be in cheer competition at that time or something like that. So we'll see, but they should be there.
Well, with that being said, if you haven't subscribed to Youthman's channel, I'm sure you already have, but just make sure you go visit him, support him by hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel. Make sure you also subscribe to Ike's channel, Easy HT Tech, Horizon Home Theater. We definitely appreciate all the support every Thursday night. Our audience is growing every time, every week. So once again, thank you. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please send us an email to hometheaterhublive@gmail.com. We're not looking for, you know, mad VRs and kaleidoscapes. We just want you to share your experience, share your fun with us.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
So thank you everyone for joining the show. We'll see you next Thursday.
Okay.
Take care, guys. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you.